Good Wednesday evening, everyone. How's everyone doing tonight for the show before the show? We are, oh, that was my earplug. That hurt. Now I know what it feels like when you pull an earring out of someone's ear. Holy macatolas. Anyways, a gun. This is a family show, but I'd say something.
Are you going to tell everybody?
No, honey, jump in there.
No, you tell everybody who's here tonight. You do the introductions.
Okay, so, yeah, I can see you have that problem, Ryan. So over here, we have the Canadian Bitcoiners who we are absolutely privileged to have on this show. We have Joey in the top right, and down here we have Len. These guys are absolute, well, they eat, drink, sleep, have families that have little Bitcoins on them. I'm telling you, man. They as I said to you on the Sunday night or one of the live casts we did recently, I said I've had my mind changed a bit, and it's their fault.
And yes, I'm so excited.
And we have Hi Rye. Pardon me, sorry for that.
Yeah, Ryan Hemsley's in the house. There you go. So we got a full house, and we're going to talk about Bitcoin. Tim, let's say hi to a few of the folks in the channel.
Nelson's there. Peyton's there. Chris. Hey, Chris.
Moonbright. Hi, Moonbright. I saw Candace earlier. There's Eric's in the house. I think Ken's here.
Candace.
Who else is there?
Candace.
Right. Oh, Jason Spooner's here. Yay.
StreamYard's there. Oh, no, that's the program. Never mind.
Oh, geez. Anyways, I'm so excited to talk about Bitcoin because, Bitcoin's my first love. That's what I got into this all about was Bitcoin. And I thought maybe what we would start with is so sorry. There's somebody at the door at the COVID time.
Everyone who's got a dog knows the pain.
Introduce yourselves. And
timing is perfect.
Len, you want to go first?
Yeah, well, I'm Len. I'm the BTC price bot on Twitter. Big Bitcoin guy. I was brought into the Bitcoin genre thanks to Joey. Just looking forward to talk to you guys all about Bitcoin. Hopefully we'll bring some more people on board.
Nice.
Yeah, my name's Joey. Len and I are colleagues. My Twitter handle is Joey Tweets with 3 E's in the tweets. I've been a Bitcoiner since 2017, though in my defense, I would have been on earlier if I had figured out how to buy in Canada, which has been a problem, I think, for a lot of Canadian Bitcoiners in the past. Ryan's kind of nodding along. He knows.
Yep.
I'm sure everyone on the chat has a story about how they weren't able to buy. But yeah, if I can convert, a few of these Tim would say coins. I'll just say shitcoiners.
We can do it, Joey. We can do it.
Yeah, shitcoiners to holding Bitcoin. I'd be happy to do so, and I hope that tonight's the start of a nice partnership with Tim and Nancy, and also with Ryan. So good to be here. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I know on Tim and Nancy, everyone here, or for the most part, a lot of people in the comments probably already know what the deal is with me and Tim and Nancy, but I'm kind of that guy on the show who's, just because it's the first time you two are meeting me, I'm kind of that guy who's fresh. I'm the newbie. I'm in Ethereum, a little bit of Bitcoin here and there, and then every other altcoin's a joke to me kind of thing. So that's the kind of stage where I'm at right now. So that's where I'm coming at, but hopefully I'm learning just alongside everyone here in the comments. Because again, I'm kind of brand new, so to speak, only 2-3 months into this. So
I would like to say that one of my proudest things of this journey has been getting Ryan as far along the crypto journey as we've gotten. And I told him leading into this that you two guys were really going to get his mind blown and totally into the headspace of why Bitcoin is the bomb when it comes to cryptocurrency. So maybe we could start with talking a little bit about why you both think that Bitcoin is just over the top amazing.
Len, I'm going to pass it to you first. You break the ice here, and then I'll pick up the scraps when you're finished.
Well, for me, it's just basically the scarcity of it all. There's only going to be 21 million in totality that's going to be mined. And at this particular moment, we have 18,000 in circulation. Also, you have to consider there's some that's been lost forever. So that's going to make the scarcity, the asset even more scarce. A lot of institutions have already jumped on board in the past, say, 12 months, and they're just driving the wheels here. They're making more people look at Bitcoin, seeing that it's an alternative asset to actually park your money. Something different than gold. Gold is kind of stagnant for the past decade or so. Bitcoin in the past decade has been rocking. Bitcoin in the past 12 months has been rocking. So I think personally, it's a great place to park your money. These altcoins, they have their day brief. They do that, maybe a few days, maybe a month or two. But in the end, Bitcoin reigns supreme. You know what's going to happen in the end. These altcoins, I don't know what their end game are. I know what the end game is with Bitcoin.
Well, okay, now this is why I love live streams. So this is where now I'm going to chirp in and kind of give my devil's advocate, because I've got people all the way from, say, 15 all the way to 80 years old on my channel. And it's always the same group of individuals who, funny enough, still watch the crypto live streams and the crypto videos, but they mention that they're just not going to get into it. So when you say we all know where it's going, what is it though? Because there's something clearly that, whether it be the advancement in technology, it can't just be the scarcity, because I mean, we've spoken about that I don't know how many times on my channel. Outside of the scarcity of it, where's that kind of guarantee for those naysayers, so to speak? And there's still a few on this channel. They're still watching. It's like they want to get in, but they haven't had that trigger moment yet.
Joy, do you want to take this one?
I'd love to. There's a few things to think about with Bitcoin when you talk about the end game, and I think it's important to think about what the relationship is with Bitcoin and the alts. I've been thinking recently that Bitcoin is like barbell training at the gym, okay? And barbell training is reliable, it's proven, it'll make you stronger. You take care to make sure you're doing the right form, you're increasing your weight every week, and you're building a base of strength. It's going to be very difficult to tear down. I look at something like altcoins, and I think it's CrossFit. It's the guy in the gym with the flashy shirt on and the high socks and the bright shoes, telling you that he can do a chin up as many times as you can, and encouraging you to test him on that. And then when you get to the bar, he starts swinging on it like a fish on the beach out of water, gasping to get back to something that he understands and he knows. That's Bitcoin doesn't have that problem, I don't think. And, when I think about like what makes Bitcoin special, it's network effect is one piece, but it really leads into a bunch of other stuff. And, it sort of includes, but isn't limited to, like hash rate, for example, network security. It includes, but isn't limited to pricing energy in Bitcoin, which is something we're starting to see. I know you mentioned this on your channel a couple of days ago, Ryan, when we were chirping in the comments about mining companies in Alberta, right? I think you're in Calgary. I have that right? Yeah. So some of these mining companies in Alberta now are starting to get flare gas miners set up, sort of, increasing their output, so to speak, as far as the value of their operation. This isn't an option for almost any other asset. And, it's funny. The thing that I think we have to contend with, at least before central banks, is the gold thing. And I was watching a bit of the Michael Saylor, and I can't remember the guy's name. He debated a Canadian gold guy, but basically the case that Saylor was making is
Frank Giustra.
Giustra, yeah.
Giustra, yeah.
A fellow Italian. I should do better, even though I don't agree with his point of view. But anyway, so the thing I was watching, that debate, and really clicked for me when Mike said it, is I look at like the environment that Bitcoiners are in on Twitter and on Facebook and on YouTube, and like it's a zealot group. Like these people are insane, and I count myself among them. They're enthusiastic. They tear down anyone who has anything to say. There's the have fun staying poor meme. It's incredible. Like the number of blue checks with ill-fitting button-down shirts who have been shredded by people with Goku avatars in their name who are millionaires just because they can is incredible. But that's only part of the story, right? The other part of the story is that Saylor points out that gold companies, what are they doing? They're not putting gold on their balance sheet. In fact, they're mining gold as fast as they can to sell it for cash. These guys don't even have faith in the gold that they're putting out as a store of value. They don't.
And on that point, Joey, how many Bitcoin miners are hodling? They are not selling. They're accumulating, and who knows when they're going to sell. But right now, they're not.
And the data shows that. Ryan, I'm going to turn you on to hodl waves, and you're going to see that because of the transparency of the chain, you can tell who's selling and how much and when. And so you would expect, you're a stock guy, you would expect that in a 12-month period, or even less, Ryan, like probably in some cases, you could even make the case that this is really only like 5 or 6 months where it tripled from 20 to 60 in US dollar terms. You would expect to see older coins being sold because that's a ton of money that these guys would have made, except you didn't see it. And you can see on the chain that most of the coins that were moving were less than 6 months old. So people who were buying a long time ago, who sat through that sort of big dive in March 2020 when everything took a dip because of COVID, the people who sat through that held through that giant run up in price. That's conviction. And that's the kind of conviction you want in a store of value. And then you talk about like Visa, MasterCard, all these guys building around it and the tax implications and stuff like that. I think a lot of people are worried that the tax implications are going to make this almost unusable without paying capital gains, but it's not the case. Visa and MasterCard have regulatory capture and regulatory influence. They're not going to hop on and spend $1 billion on rails if people are going to pay taxes on it. I think all the wins are going one way in the sale. I encourage people to get on. I'm waiting to hear somebody tell me why some of that stuff isn't true or doesn't mean that it's going to take off even further than it has in the last year. But so far, I just haven't heard it. Look
at the people that are fanatic about Bitcoin. You know, we had just this past Saturday a huge dump, about 10K was the price drop, but still it's now climbing back up. It's kind of holding in the mid 50s. Could any altcoin kind of suffer the same kind of event and recover the same way Bitcoin? I would imagine a lot of these altcoins, they have support, but their support is a mile long and an inch deep. As soon as something happens, it'd be a catastrophic event. People will just paper hand and it will overwhelm the diamond handlers and the price will just absolutely drop. Bitcoin doesn't have this. Bitcoin is, for whatever reason, it's resilient. People are holding on. The old, as Joy mentioned, the old people that have adopted it a long time ago, they're not selling. They're holding on. Bitcoin by nature is when you buy it, you're going to hold on to it. It's not like a currency where we're going to use it to buy and sell something. Although with the Lightning Network, it's kind of, they're trying to make it a way that you could buy and sell goods rather quickly and cheaply. Goods and services, sorry. But by nature, Bitcoin is you buy in, you're going to keep it. And that also creates more scarcity. So, you know, all signs are pointing this thing is going to continue to go up. There's still a lot of institutions that have yet to buy on board. But once they do, every time you see like an Apple come in, a Google come in, whomever, the price is just going to skyrocket. And it's just going to cement the fact that Bitcoin is a great place to store your money.
Yeah. I'm ready for Ryan to put out the video tomorrow. Like I'm going all in on Bitcoin. Here's why. I'm ready. I'm going to be watching.
I'm betting on it. Actually, we got a little pool going on amongst
honestly,
ourselves.
like just being so with respect to the crowd that comes over from my channel, the Tim and Nancy crowd, and everyone who's brand new here. I started out with like inching in with $20 here, $100 there. And I would like, honest to God, it's 40% of my portfolio in its entirety right now is all in crypto. Mind you, not 1 penny's in Bitcoin. It's all in Ethereum at the moment. But I'm on that train for the quicker gains right now because I'm still so new to things. But at least for me, I feel like I've taken the first step. Bitcoin, all of that stuff will come later. But it's funny how even though you can buy in fractionally, and I know this, so many people know this. It is so odd how even knowing that, I still am more mentally attracted to the barrier point with respect to Ethereum. I don't know what that is.
Ryan, is that because of the price point? Is that what scares you off?
I don't know what it is because I know I can buy Bitcoin fractionally. So it's still that it's like something deep in the back of my head for some reason. Maybe it's because I'm so new and into the space. And maybe that's the reason why I bought Litecoin before I bought Bitcoin, for instance, right? Like literally.
This is a story. Everyone has this story, right? The unit bias story where like you like thinking to yourself when Bitcoin's, I don't know, how much is it when we started, Len? Probably like 9,000 US, maybe something like that.
Yeah, give or take.
You're looking at Litecoin on Coinbase. This is only 3 things there, right? It was Coinbase, it was Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum. And you're thinking like, man, I could get 3-4 Litecoins for the same same cost, and like, oh, I don't know, this might be all right. What if it becomes the next Bitcoin? The thing is, like, when we started, okay, think of like a hiking path. Lots of hiking paths here in Hamilton. I'm sure there's lots where you guys are too. In the comments, I'm guessing it's the same thing. Think of it like a hiking path. The first time somebody goes down into the forest and finds like a nice spot to have a campfire, right? There's no path there. The grass is high. There's, animals, God only knows what's there. And as more people go down that road, right? And the road really in this metaphor is the road to figuring out that Bitcoin is really where you want to park your money. As more people go down that road, the resources are there. There's podcasts and books and YouTube videos and all this stuff, right? So in 2017, there was none of this stuff. And now, so you're telling me you've only been doing it for about 3 months. It sounds like you're going through a lot of the same stuff that we went through when we started.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's a brand new world, really, at the end of the day. I mean, I can't even, everything that I do, in the stock side of things, I try to do on the crypto side of things, and it's gone. It doesn't work for me, at least. Maybe I'm just ridiculous and I don't know what I'm talking about, because that is the case. But at the same time, it's so different that I'm taking such baby steps with this, at least for me. But
no, it's good, man. And I was watching a couple of your videos, and without giving away your trade secrets, like if you haven't watched Ryan's videos, obviously you should go look. But I think you trade on like basic technicals, right? It looks like you have like the RSI.
I do that for the main, and that's the beautiful thing about it. It's because with the influx of the retail investor and just the average person getting into it, you really don't have to get too deep into things, especially when they're hyped up. If you go with the top 5 indicators on pretty much any stock and compare it to the news cycle, like you're pretty set. I would say probability wise, you're pretty set. Like it's so easy these days, but at the same time, it is only so easy because there's so many people like me who don't necessarily know what they're doing, or on the crypto side, Bitcoin side, who dump their money into things. But it's a catch-22 with that one. But yeah,
there's a guy in the comments, or I missed the comment here. Oh, XRP is the top number 3 coin at 170.
Genuine.
Genuine.
By market cap?
Is that true?
Is that actually by market cap?
So,
yeah.
Okay, so let me give you.
So hang on.
Let me give you the case. Okay,
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No.
I thought BNB was number 3.
Let me give you the case for why market cap doesn't matter in most of these altcoins. Okay, if me and Ryan and Len start Len, Ryan, Joey coin, and we get one sucker to buy it for $10, and then we print 1 trillion of those coins, and XRP, like 1 trillion is a big number, but XRP is pushing into the hundreds of millions, I'm sure, if not higher than that by now, because there's no fixed supply schedule. The market cap goes to some like bonkers number that your calculator would have fed you an error for back in grade school. Like you need like the $40 Texas Instruments calculator to find that. So, okay, so let's see the market cap. What is that number? 59.
Hang on a second. Let me just get that.
59 billion, right? That's the number there, number 4 on the market cap. So that number doesn't mean anything. And if you look at all these coins, like Dogecoin is obviously a popular one these days because people are like just dying to have the rug pulled from underneath them. Cardano is another one. Ethereum also still no fixed supply schedule, though Ethereum 2.0 I think maybe is trying to move towards that. So I should bite my tongue a bit. But like the Bitcoin market cap is important because you know what the supply schedule is going to be. That's why it's important. And so that $1 trillion is 1 trillion hard-earned cap dollars that XRP is never going to have to earn because they print forever and burn whenever they want. Ethereum is never going to have to earn because no one can audit the supply. That stuff doesn't matter. Cap doesn't matter. Look at stuff like hash rate. Look at stuff like network effects. There's a lot of different things you can look at that are not market cap that would do a better job telling you what the coin's true value is.
Joey, but one thing about the hash rate, some coins, they're not ASIC specific. So as a result, you're not going to have the same type of hash rate as, say, like Bitcoin. So we talked about this with Doge. Doge, you have to mine it with a CPU or a GPU. So the hash rate on that is going to be significantly lower than Bitcoin. I'm not trying to shill Doge. I think it's a crappy coin, but it's hard to compare apples to apples here. It just you got to look into it a little bit more.
Yeah, no, I would agree. So I just want to take a second and say to all those that are just tuning in now, you've joined the Tim and Nancy Danter show, and we've got the Great Canadian Bitcoiners. I've renamed you guys the Great Canadian Bitcoiners. It reminds me of the bagel company, the Great Canadian Bagel. But the Great Canadian Bitcoiners are in the house. Joey's in the top right corner, I think. corner, and Len's down below. They're the Canadian Bitcoiners, and of course we got Ryan Hemsley in the house. The first hour of our Crypto Night in Canada is all dedicated to Bitcoin. So welcome everybody. We love having the participation from the comment section. So please feel free to leave us some comments if you got any questions for these Bitcoin experts. That'd be great. We're trying to. The goal for tonight is to really get Ryan jazzed up about
and this
Bitcoin.
Is the thing, but before we got into that, again, amazing thing. If you're brand new here, make sure to hit like, subscribe. Great Canadian Bitcoiners, the Canadian Bitcoiners, they've got a podcast going on. It's amazing. But my question, because we were talking about Bitcoin, like the limited supply of Bitcoin, right? So is all of, and I'm brand new, so this might sound ignorant to both the viewers. I don't know. You guys know where I'm at in the journey, and then to you guys especially. is these other coins, for instance, when they initiate these burn rates, is that their attempt to kind of keep up with the limited supply? Like, wouldn't it be better to have kind of an inflationary coin anyway with respect to that, to keep it? I mean, that's kind of where I'm at too, because I've been listening a lot about the benefits of both sides. So where do you guys come on that?
It's a gimmick. It's just simply a gimmick. It's a good way to draw in people. Like BNB, for instance, they burn every so often. I'm not sure how often, maybe every quarter or whatever, but it's a gimmick. But to BNB's credit, it does create more scarcity in that market. But in the end, still Bitcoin will reign supreme. Like it is the granddaddy of the cryptocurrencies. All the other ones are kind of just following suit or cheap imitations or whatever. So that's really the way I look at it.
You know, Len, I heard something today on one of the YouTube University talks, and what was it? Stansberry's research actually did something that I'm dying to see. It was the trade-off.
They talked about it.
Well, then, moving on.
No.
The sailor interview.
Sailor and the gold, yeah. So
it was a great discussion.
I didn't,
great.
yeah. So, oh man.
Did I interrupt your thought process?
Gone.
That's okay.
I'm sorry. But what I wanted to talk about, it's sort of along that lines. He'll think about it. It will come back. We watched Robert Breedlove today on the Rich Dad Radio. It was filmed at some point in March, so it's still fairly relevant. Wow. And the thing that I want to throw out here to you guys, have you guys heard of something called Gresham's Law?
Yeah, I couldn't rhyme it off the top of my head, but...
Well, it talks about fake money drives out good money, and they talk about it a lot because
what's happening backwards. It might be backwards, right? Good money drives out bad money.
Nope, fake money drives out good money. So why they're saying that is because the two of them, Robert Kiyosaki and Robert Breedlove, were talking about all this money printing is going to drive out all the good money. And we're just going to be left with phony money. That's what's going to be left. And they got going down the rabbit hole of inflation. And I know Ryan Hemsley hates when I talk about inflation, but I mean,
the numbers are the numbers, but I think that people have way more control over the inflation, what happens with respect to that, than we might think. So I don't really think I'm just not worried about inflation this year. For me at least, I'm not worried about it in 2021. I know it's popping, but I don't see it being an issue for the year, but that's just me.
What was interesting with Robert was that the other Robert, Rich Dad, sort of called him out and said, "So where do you see this?" And he actually predicted, and he had this formula and this. Wow, that's really dark. And this this theory that by 2030. Well, it's always black and white with us, right? Anyway, it's 2030 or 2031. That the price of Bitcoin per Bitcoin was going to be $12.5 million. However, with the adjusted rate of inflation and stuff like that, it would be around $1 million to us in real that day dollar. Mm-hmm. It blew my mind. Wow, that's bad.
It's all of a sudden a dark cloud came over. That's why it's bright over here and less dark over here. That's
Ryan, I gotta hear. I have to hear, Ryan. What is your give me your elevator pitch on inflation. Pretend it's like 20 floors though. Like it doesn't have to be 2 or 3 floors. Hit me with like the 20 floor version of the inflation stance.
I just don't, honest to God, that I just don't put you can go into inflation with respect to the actual numbers and the data being released. I don't put faith in the market reacting to the number releases as much as people actually think that they do. Quite honestly, I really believe in the psychology of policy and announcements over the fact that these numbers being released, because if these numbers being released actually meant something for inflation, now inflation's here. If these actually meant something though, it would have happened and it would have been periodically getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And it would be obvious right now. I really, really do believe that more power is in the hands of policymakers with respect to this. And I know it's going to be coming. Maybe it's kind of building the storm's getting worse, so to speak. But I really believe that their policymakers have the power to push that off a little bit. And at the same time, in doing that, you give the market an option to shake out weak investors, to buy back certain aspects of things, lower price earnings ratios across the board. I'm not talking crypto here, so I'll get back into the Bitcoin thing. But I really do believe that there's more power in these policymakers to buy time, shift time, especially with what's been happening in the market with respect to these shakeouts. That's the best case scenario for postponing this inflation push and these negative drags down on the market. Like every time there's a massive drag on the market or 10% up, 10% down, if this goes all year long, that's the best case scenario for me. It redistributes the cash more effectively, in my opinion, and then gives the government time and gives the market time to adjust. To me, I have no crystal ball. I have no idea where it's going to land. I just put so much more of my faith into the makers itself as opposed to the numbers. Even though I'm a numbers guy, it's just clearly in today's market, numbers don't seem to matter to people anymore. They just buy based on whatever they hear. So I just have so much more faith in the people aspect of this than I do the number releases.
Can I convince you that? Hold on, Len. Can I convince you that the inflation, the inflation game isn't about the actual announced CPI or anything like that? It's actually about the interest rate. If you look at it in terms of the rate.
But then how can you like justify, for instance, the interest rates for the Bank of Canada, for instance, maintaining itself, even though we just released numbers, for instance, that were so much better than we ever thought could have. Our Canadian dollar, for instance, USD CAD comparison right now is great. We're at, I think, 80 cents American as of this morning or yesterday morning. We're doing fantastic, and yet interest rates are still the same. It doesn't make sense to me. When we're doing that well, interest rates should have been risen to generate business here in the country. But at the same time, there's the counteract where the normal people kind of feel the hit. But for the business generation and this and that, that's why great question, but that's almost why I almost don't understand what's going on with inflation right now, because what I think should be happening is just not happening. That's what I just don't get it right now.
They have the ability to raise interest rates, and they choose not to do it because it would be suicide to do so. A lot of people would lose their homes. People that have a lot of money.
But even 0.25%, like we're sitting at 0.25% right now, which is insane.
That would be too much for some people to sustain.
It'd be too much.
They're kind of they blocked them. Sorry, they painted themselves into a corner. They have to keep rates low, and their only way to actually keep things moving is to print more money. That's really the only thing that they could do. So the people that you hear that inflation is kind of in check, talk to people that have boots on the ground. Nancy, for instance, in your line of work, you were talking about that you're seeing that the price of goods in your work is actually going rather high. Let's look at lumber. Lumber's a domestic product. We cut this domestically. And the price of it is sky high. So inflation is what is not being reported. What is being reported is to kind of appease us. In reality, inflation is much, much higher. And
the other thing too. Oh, sorry, Len, I thought you were
go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say that the problem with rates is that the inflation, like by the time inflation is here and it starts showing up in consumer goods, it's because it can't be hidden anymore. Right now, it's hiding in financial assets. It's hiding in homes. It's hiding in like Jason says here in the comments, inflation is already here in housing and materials. Like the other problem is that with rates so low, the people who have assets, like Len and I talked about this on this show, this is not financial advice. This is irresponsible, but like borrowing against your house to invest has never been an option before. But because rates are so low, you almost have no choice but to take equity out of the house and use it for something that's growing faster than the value of your house, which is almost impossible to think about based on the real estate values in this country. But you're there basically since March of 2020. The other problem is that because more people have more capital, or the people with the most capital can do that, naturally they're driving up prices of financial assets that require that capital. So you're not going to see people like, without a home, for example, being able to execute that strategy effectively. They can't do it. Instead, they're looking at the price of eggs every week and going, it's the same price it was last year. Oh, it's up 2%. The other thing to think about with inflation is, there's like a thought, like a sentiment almost among people who are saving, that if you save responsibly through your whole working career, say, for example, you should be able to live on the money you save. You shouldn't have to take risks with the money you save, whether it's investing or buying homes or whatever, right? But the fact of the matter is we're there now as far as having to take risks. I don't know if that should be the case, but it is. If you didn't take a risk with your money, like short of just saving for 30 years to buy a pack of ground beef at the store based on the inflation numbers that are reported, you wouldn't be able to afford anything. So the inflation numbers that are reported, even when they say those inflation numbers have arrived, really aren't in anything of value. There will never be an admission from a policymaker that inflation has arrived. it'll never happen because, like Len said, it's suicide. Everyone knows it's happening, but they can't quite put their finger on it because it's happening so slowly in the things that you see every day. But the things you don't see every day, it's happening so fast. The problem is that the people who have access to those things where the price is accelerating at a growing pace doesn't matter to them because they have the financial assets to execute strategies to protect the wealth on the way up. That's the problem.
I just want to add one more point.
Go ahead.
Sorry. So another problem we have here, the policymakers, they're limited to 4-year cycles or less if there's a minority government. So their intentions are not for long term. They're just trying to get elected maybe 1-2 more times, and they're going to do whatever they can to do so. And I think that kind of sells us as citizens short in the long run.
What was interesting in what you say is that it's hidden is that there was something something on a Facebook where it's like cottages for sale, so on and so forth. This is the most ridiculous price I've seen posted. There was a cottage that went on the market last week up where we have our Sauble Beach. It went $324,000 over asking price. Unbelievable. And yet you do that 2 years ago and it was 300, whatever the price was. How do you,
Well,
what's it like in Calgary, Ryan? Like, are you seeing the same stuff for real estate out there? Because here it's nuts. I don't know what it's like in Alberta.
People always, the funny thing is about Alberta, people in Alberta are always like, oh, we've come off the boom. This is, bad. Everyone across the country thinks, Alberta's in a rut. When I got to Alberta, this is what I realized. Everyone was making 200, 250 grand a year. And now they're making more like 150 grand a year and they're broke in their minds, but they're still doing the amount of wealth that I see here in Alberta blows my mind. The housing market though I wouldn't say it's as hot as Ottawa, for instance. And that's where I'm from before Calgary, but it's a little ridiculous, like for sure. And hey, Rick, what's going on, bro? But housing market, I have noticed out here, nowhere near as hot as Ontario. But definitely, I don't get it. I mean, it's popping off like, and then the government's new. Well, listen, we got to get back into Bitcoin, guys. We can talk about housing all day long.
But there was a reason that I brought up inflation.
When's the interest rate live stream? When is that one? Is that tomorrow?
Well, and we did a debt live stream the other night, and we got into psychology. So you think you're going to talk about one thing, but there is a reason why inflation is important here, and that was the number one thing. The reason that I got in was for inflation hedge asset. And I will tell you right now that inflation is upon us. I get reports every single day. I got one today that Coca-Cola is about to raise their prices because of the materials the price of the commodities are going up. And there's an aluminum shortage again. So the price of the aluminum's going up. So Coke's going to raise their prices. I got another message that said that anything that has dairy in it is about to go up. So we've already got the report with corn, wheat, soy, all those prices are going up. Dairy's going up. You are going to see it in your food eminently. I'm telling you right now. So
yeah, I'm not an economist, but I could kind of connect the dots. As I get information, I could realize that things are going to cost a lot more. Not just as we talked about houses, but just as you're discussing, just basic needs just to keep our bellies full. It's going to be disastrous going forward.
It just seems so chaotic right now. Like they're attempting to pull back from here to give back to here to save this and that. Like it's so all over the place right now. It's pretty wild.
What's interesting is Jason just made a comment there and he said something along the lines of, offer them Bitcoin for the cottage. And it's like, there's been 2 cottages come up. I'm not kidding you this. Our real estate agent has notified us. And I said, will they take Bitcoin? Huh?
Do you notice they don't take Litecoin, Doge, or
Bitcoin? That's weird. What a weird thing. I can't.
Yeah, I got 150 Dogecoin ticket. It's a real good investment.
So our friend Rick has just posted a comment. He said everyone is over leveraged. Multiple countries are printing on unlimited money. History has always proved interest rates will go up and out. The dollar will lose. House sell for what people pay. I would say that part of where Robert Breedlove was going with that was that by printing more money, so this is why Rick's point was so poignant, it just is shifting wealth. Inflation is inevitable when the printing starts to happen. And all it does is it creates more poor people. It just widens the gap. It's awful. So, and they say every time the currency collapses, the civilization collapses. So they're really saying when they're talking about Bitcoin is that we are going to see a huge shift in the next 10-year period between now and 2031 in the world, really.
Well, that's what Robert Breedlove was saying. He said gold's been around, 5,000 years, whatever.
Long time.
Nothing has disrupted it. Here it comes. BTC is about the only thing that has any chance of disrupting gold, right? And I think when Joey and Len and I, we all spoke the other evening, the topic of should I cash in at the top, which is like, maybe the end of the year, whatever. And they brought up a really good point. They said, well, that's fine. But, if the price comes down, are you going to be able to buy back in, or is someone going to go in and scoop all the coins up? I mean, not that that's really possible, but
that's what
right.
scares me.
Yeah.
So do you guys think that?
Yeah, I think we talked about on our podcast this week, which everyone should subscribe to, the Canadian Bitcoiners podcast. Shameless plug, Len and I.
No, it's at the bottom of the thing here. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, I got to get used to the streaming thing. You guys are crushing. I'm amazed by all the different features you have here. On our show this week, we did a breakdown, like the anatomy of the recent price action. And actually, Ryan, I'd be interested in hearing your take on this too, from the technical side. But we look at it and we talked for 20 minutes about whether or not there was any rational explanation for it. And there's always stories to go with this stuff. Like Tim, you sent me an article today on Bloomberg, right? About price targets for Bitcoin and stuff. There's always going to be price targets because people like round numbers. They like knowing what they can tell their friends at a dinner party and stuff like that. But the fact of the matter is that most of the Bitcoin price movement is animal spirits, man. And it doesn't have rhyme or reason. There's tons of people. I think the last comment we had up was about leverage. The Bitcoin market is no different because of its maturity now. You can get Bitcoin, leveraged Bitcoin vehicles pretty easily on a lot of these like fly-by-night exchanges. I don't recommend that, obviously, but you can. And so what you get is sweeping stops and people getting stopped out and cascading sells because of that. And then before you know it, you're down 10% or 15% in an hour or 2 hours.
I'm kind of looking
not much you can do about it. And so people can swoop in. They will swoop in and buy cheap coins. Like Len and I said, Len, what did you do during that dip?
I actually watched that. If I had more money, I would have bought some more.
You sissy. Yeah, you should have bought more.
I diamond-handed it, though. I held, and I will continue to do so. But one thing to consider, too, every time if you do sell, it's a taxable event. So that's another thing to consider. So just be careful if you have any crypto. I'm not sure if this was discussed before, but it's a taxable event, and it should be reported to the CRA and captured correctly.
So genuine leave it. You go ahead, Joey. Genuine leaves a comment.
Yeah, he's saying exactly what I just said. So 3x leverage BTC, and we were also saying on our pod this week, you can buy 3x bull and bear Bitcoin ETFs. So I'll wait for that video on your channel, Ryan. The pros and cons.
I didn't even know that you could buy leverage.
It just started this week.
It's not to leverage at all. It's just a straight 1x.
Oh, okay.
In Canada, I believe you can only have 2 times leverage. In the States, you can have 3 times leverage on a market.
So, but even still, like you can buy the bull and bear ETF. Like there's vehicles for directional. If you have a thought on whether it's going to go up or down.
Society doesn't believe in Bitcoin or Ethereum, and yet look at the ETFs that are coming out. Look at Canada's leading the way. Canada, the small little country out of all the big G8s. We've just released what's that?
We have 4 ETFs for Bitcoin.
Well, Ethereum, they just did what they do, 3 Ethereums this week? 3 Ethereums? Well, have I got that right? It's like, you mean this is something that's a scam? It's a Ponzi scam? Yeah, it's a Ponzi scam when they come out with ETFs. If it's the biggest one going, right? If that's the case, it's just ridiculous. I don't. And I think the thing is that I'm learning from Len and Joy is that you dollar cost average into this. I've kind of taken this sort of buckshot, the shotgun approach with some of the coins, and I may have too many altcoins in our portfolio right now. And even Nance, before we came on the air tonight, goes, listening to Robert Breadlove and listening to Joy and Len is made me think maybe we should be out of the altcoins and back into everything into BTC. Yeah,
I should say I don't have any beef with people who trade alts to acquire more Bitcoin. That's not what I'm saying. I think there's strategies you can use, and it sounds like you guys are doing something similar, right? Like Ryan, you mentioned, I think it was maybe before we started, about the scalp on Ethereum and stuff like that. Like it's a doable strategy, but longer term, I don't know.
Yeah,
Like I
It's
just
not,
I
yeah,
wouldn't
it's
do
not a
it.
long-term thing, scalping your way to the top. That's like, I got, I got pretty lucky a few times in a row, and all I'm waiting for is that one time where Ethereum goes up through the roof, and I now have to pay double to buy back in or something, and I'm sitting there killing myself because the only thing I'll have to my name at that point is the 9% interest on Gemini or Tether or whatever, because that's the only saving grace with scalping. But no, it's don't do it if you don't know. If you're not comfortable, don't do it.
Can we
Rena
just
Kruger
answer?
has a question there. Yeah.
Yeah, I would say thanks, Joey.
So 3x, Len, you can get, or actually anyone can jump in here because I think Ryan, you would know if I'm misstepping, but a 3x ETF or 3x leverage or 3x is basically for every dollar that moves one direction or the other, your investment will move $3 one way or the other.
And there is no 3x available on Canadian markets. 2x is the limit.
No.
But you can in the United States. You could find some 3x ETFs. So if you're very creative or very bullish on something, go ahead. But you could lose a heck of a lot of money fast.
But Len, don't. I mean, you're making more money by holding a Bitcoin than you are an ETF, right? Because you're paying the premium for someone else to run your show for you. Correct?
Yes.
So would you, if someone was going to get into this and buy Satoshi by Satoshi by Satoshi, you know, at least my recommendation would be, I mean, I hold both coin and ETF. I do. But I'm even considering for the amount, I mean, the amount I hold in that and what it's appreciated at and what I bought in at, I've made a pretty good advancement on that. I could probably afford close to another Bitcoin. And I'm just, you know, I'm struggling with, I'm waiting for the push off the edge to say, yeah, you should do that. Tell me why I should or shouldn't consider that. Not do it, consider that.
Let's look at the two different options available to you if you want to get into the BTC, get some exposure in BTC. You could buy an ETF like BTCC or something similar, or you could actually just buy the coin. So the advantages of each. If you buy the coin, you buy the actual Bitcoin, it's yours. Your keys, nobody can take it away from you. The disadvantage of that, if you decide to sell it later on, you're going to pay a tax. If you get BTCC in any of the, like an RRSP or TFSA, you're sheltering yourself from tax. So you could buy and sell, and whatever gains you make in there, it's yours to keep. So really you have to decide which is the better of the two options for you to get it into BTC. So,
but if it's in an RRSP, I still have a tax implication when I take it out. TFSA, no.
You can still trade within an RRSP though.
Okay.
And so so if you happen to think that you're bullish on BTC in the future, I don't know why, but you still have that option to pull out an RRSP and to put it into something else.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah. No, there's some funny
made for the ETFs too. Is that it'll smooth your returns, right? Smooth your losses, smooth your returns. So you know what I mean? Like Bitcoin's gonna rips.
I was gonna say it's kind of ETFs are kind of a nice first step for those people. For instance, he mentioned the older investors. Like that's even for me, it was kind of my first. Funny enough, I bought crypto first, but I considered the ETF first. It's a nice little on-ramp for those who are a little bit sketched out with it.
So what are you guys thinking about with the comparison of the last two 2013 and 17? It did, you look at the graphs and it did 3 spikes and then it down, right? And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, we're sort of hitting the first spike already, right? We haven't hit the second and third spike, right? And I think do you have a feeling that the second and third spike are going to be in line with historically what it did in 17 and 13, or do you think these ones are going to be right off the chart?
I think this is going to be different. We have institutions this time around that are coming on board. The previous 2 times we did not have that. So there's still a lot of big players that haven't yet jumped on board. Also, there are some retail investors that are going to be jumping on board this month and next month. We have Goldman Sachs that are going to be offering Bitcoin options to their clients. So there's going to be a lot of different options now. Robinhood is actually selling Bitcoin and Doge and whatnot to their clients. So we didn't have this in 2013. We didn't have this in 2017. So this bull run has a lot more power in it than the previous 2 bull runs. So I know you're talking about the 3 spikes. We are in the first. This could absolutely rip once we hear another couple of big players get on board.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
So I go back to the fact of when, and we can never ever, us normies can never ever, with exact science, estimate when the right time is at the top to get out. Okay, so having said that, would you suggest that if you knew the top was coming for the third and final time, that you took your profit, got out, or would you just let it ride no matter what?
Well, I don't understand why we're talking about 3 spikes. Like in 2013, Tim, in 2013, I was still buying a DVD at the store. Like the technology has accelerated so fast in the last 18 months, let alone 8 years.
Well, even the environment's changed so drastically with the adoption.
Yeah.
That's what you were saying, that I don't even think it could repeat the same 3 spike. Maybe there's going to be several spikes and then the same, but I don't think the same pattern even applies anymore in the environment. Just it's too it's so adopted now that that pattern I don't think maintains itself anymore. But
it's woven in. Like think about something as simple as the ETF structure. Okay. Like people in the chat, I'm going to answer there was a question on there before. I want to answer about the Satoshis and BlockFi. So there's I'll take that in a second. The thing I was going to say is the ETF structure, as far as the spikes. Okay. If you have ETFs and you're doing a standard investing setup with like a traditional bank and you want to invest in a Bitcoin ETF, like how many people on the screen or in the chat do the investing manually? Like they go to their bank, they send it to their investing account, then they buy the ETF and they hold it. Most of the time it's automatic. So you're setting a floor there that you didn't have before. Then you start talking about Coinbase and the crypto only apps that buy automatically. Like my Shakepay always has money in it. It just buys every few hours. It buys a small amount, right? And so all these things now are setting a floor that wasn't there before. Then you talk about Sailor, Bitcoin Jesus himself, right? This guy's buying a billion at a time because he wakes up one day and he sees, I don't know, Bitcoin in his toast or something instead of the Virgin Mary. He spends $1 billion on it, right? And so that sets the floor. And you got all these different things to set the floor that we didn't have. Like Ryan said, in 2013, what do you like? What were you playing? Are you a video game guy? What were you playing?
In 2013, buddy, I was probably playing Call of Duty after I got home from grade 11. But
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like it was but I will say, even in the 2017-18, which wasn't really that bad, I remember when all the boys at work, that was the first time I ever sold cars, they're like, oh, we're all going to buy Bitcoin. And I'm like, okay, because you're stupid. So I didn't get in on the train, and they're buying Bitcoin at, I don't know, a few thousand. I think it hit like 13, and they're all tripping out, thinking they just made bank. They took it out. It crashed, and half of them wanted to kill themselves. But it was like, I mean, all these things, the whole environment's changed, because back then, what the heck was Bitcoin to the average person at the end of the day? Now, just the fact, I mean, I always try to relate things back to the simplest of terms, because I find the simple answer is often the right answer. If I can buy a freaking ice cream cone from Baskin Robbins with Bitcoin, okay, that's answered so many of my questions right there. Adoption is I mean, it's not the same as it was even 2 years ago, even 1 year ago. Half of you guys, I know one of the viewers, Rick, wanted to buy Bitcoin just barely a few months ago, and he didn't buy it, and it's more than doubled. I mean, so this is really picking up. But I mean, back then, 2013, 2017, it wasn't even on my brain. It was not on my mind at all.
It wasn't mainstream. And
no, not at all.
Like even something like there was the BlockFi question. I'm sorry, I can't remember who wrote it, but the BlockFi question, like something like that, where you're earning interest. Like I don't do it. I have my own reservations about it. I don't want to do it. But even something like that, where the coin is locked up, that's a floor setting thing, because if it crashes, what are you going to do? You're going to go to BlockFi and say, hey, I need the money back right now. I got to sell. They're going to say, dog, it's not an option. You better just sit tight, put your hands under your legs. And
well,
just
wouldn't
wait,
the option then be though? Wouldn't the option though be to switch it immediately though to a stable coin and then just transfer that out?
I mean, the Bitcoin is locked somewhere. Like it's whether you're not market selling, right? So yeah. I think that's like just another floor setting thing. And so I don't think in terms of the spikes. I think in terms of the floors. The floors are getting higher and higher and higher. Yeah. And there's going to be a time, like Len said, like we speculated on our show about like Apple, who's now suddenly very privacy focused, very interested in locking horns with payment processors and anyone who's in their way as far as making their unit, their phones, a one-stop shop for payment, privacy, messaging, mail, banking, all that stuff. What is stopping them with more money than God in the bank from buying or doing research and developing a hardware key inside a phone? It's not much. That's a very low hurdle to step over for them at this point if they decide that it's worth the effort, right? And that, like, if that happens, you're done. It's not coming back down. It's going to be mainstream. Venmo added Bitcoin today or yesterday. Like Venmo,
70 million users.
It's the social sharing app. Like you go to a music festival and you want to, transact with somebody in the field during a show. What do you think you use? You're not trading cash. You give using Venmo. You talk to your buddies at a garage sale. It's Venmo. It's this, this stuff is huge in America already. It's going to come here at some point. We saw Shakepay today. Shakepay today. Look what they added, right? What were they encouraging today? They're encouraging user to user cash. That's coming here if it's not here already. Yeah. And that stuff, that is floor setting business. That's
Mogul has that, right?
There's just someone here in the comments section who's been making lots of comments, but just wait for the next part of the live stream where we can get more into the altcoin stuff, buddy. We're in the Bitcoin scenario right now, Andrew, but we'll rock and roll with your questions later, bud.
So this is a good comment here. This is another thing that we point to on our show that you can get this information fairly easily. I think on Glassnode, Len, about how much Bitcoin is still on wallets on exchanges.
It is reducing for sale. Every day. There's less and less Bitcoin on the exchange. They're getting less from the miners, and the miners are hodling the Bitcoin. Once it runs out in the exchanges, this could absolutely go insane because the only place to buy is from retailers.
So Len, just for the public and the normies in the group, why are they hodling it?
That's a good question. There is no reason. I suspect that it's because they think it's going to be going much higher later on. But normally they would sell this to cover their costs. They haven't been doing that for a little while. Hive is the only one that's doing it, but they're selling Ethereum Classic to cover their costs. Good on them to get rid of that crappy coin and keep Bitcoin and Ethereum. But the rest of them they're holding it. And I suspect they think that it's going to be going up quite a bit. The price of $55K, whatever it is today, is a drop in the bucket what it's going to be next month, next year, next decade. They have their finger on the pulse of what's going to happen.
And you know what? A lot of the public doesn't stop to listen to that, nor do they understand what that means about the implications of it not being on the open market very much. It's coming off, going into cold wallets. It's it's going here, it's going there. And not a lot of people, and I speak for myself, it doesn't make sense to someone why that. It's like, okay, well, that's happening, but they don't think down the road about what does it mean? What does that mean? And it means they're getting ready, they're hunkering in because they know they're going to have a very good commodity in a couple of months or whatever the case is, right?
Could you imagine going to Coinbase and not being able to buy Bitcoin, or going to Shakepay, and where are you going to go? Well, we're going to go to us 5 and try to buy it, or people like us. And if we're not going to sell it, well, somebody's going to if the price is right. And 55 obviously is not right.
No.
It's funny, Genuine again with the Celsius CEO prediction. Like you could find these astronomical numbers on almost any Google search about the Bitcoin price. If you want to knock your socks off, chat, go to the Plan B stock to flow model on Twitter. Some of the stuff he's got as far as the relationship between the price and the halving cycles, the 4-year halving cycles, is it's hopium that I'll inject right into my veins, man. Even though I think he's probably he's going to miss on the liberal end of that estimate. Even if he lands a bit short, it's going to be nuts. What's this question here? Nelson, that's fine. We're in a bull market. Prices don't go up forever. Do you remember what happened in the roaring 20s? I do remember what happened in the roaring 20s, but that was also a time when people were traveling by horse. So I don't put much stock in the roaring 20s.
I do want to point out
oranges on that one, buddy. Apples and oranges. That's not at all the same scenario we're dealing with at this point.
So Chris has a point there. Shakepay Visa. If you look at the Shakepay Visa that was announced today, this is going to be huge. This is dominating my Twitter feed. I don't know about yours, Joey.
These comments are cracking me up.
But you know what? I really, Shakepay Visa, them coming out with visas and stuff, that's not what we're kind of all about, because that's encouraging someone to spend in order to get the prize of a Satoshi.
No, but
it was spending cash out of your Shakepay account and getting Bitcoin back. So it's like a debit card, not a credit card.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'm going to spend the money anyways, Shakepay doesn't get every dollar in mine.
For me,
exactly. I know. I would stop using my Visa, right? Cashback, like forget it. It's so small a percentage. I'd much rather get it in Bitcoin.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Jason Spooner just subscribed to your podcast, guys. He wants to listen to some more Joey Jason. And Len. Yeah, and so why don't you tell us, you guys do your live podcasts on Monday nights, is that correct?
We do it Monday nights. We used to do it in my kitchen, but PDF, Premier Doug Ford, told us we have to stay home now for a few weeks. So we're doing it on Zoom. We released our first Zoom one this morning. We're going to add another segment, I think, for at least the duration of the lockdown, or another release with randoms off of Twitter, the Bitcoin plebs. So we got 2 booked, not for next Thursday, but the Thursday after and the Thursday following that. So if you want to do a show with us, half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour, whatever, tell us your story, and I'll just record it and put it out.
So Joey, just we're at 7:55. We got 73 folks here. What is your Twitter that they can follow you at?
It's Joey Tweets, all one word, and 3 E's in the tweets. Okay. And I want to note something here. I will follow back anybody who wants to talk Bitcoin and talk reasonable things about Bitcoin and investing and all that. It's always good to get more opinions. So I'm not one of these people who masses up followers and then doesn't follow back and sends out nothing but ads. I want to engage with people. That's how I found Bitcoin. I think that's the way to use Twitter, is to engage with people you wouldn't normally talk to. So happy to do that, and I hope to see you guys there.
And Len, are you on Twitter?
Yeah, I'm the BTC price bot, and I provide information about what's the price of BTC, but also others like Ethereum, and I don't want to list them all. But if you're interested in finding out the price on an hourly basis, my Twitter account is the place to go.
So you kind of take in a little bit more coins other than BTC
to provide information on the price. Absolutely, yes.
Okay. Cool.
You put articles out too. You've been posting some pretty good articles that you found crawling the web.
Yeah, a lot of Bitcoin, a lot of anti-Doge. I've been posting them up as fast as I could find them.
So, the Canadian Bitcoiners is on what platform for the podcast? Remind me, please.
All of them except for Apple.
Okay.
Tim is still waiting to approve us. So
I am,
but everywhere else. And if you, I helped. Tim Apple's still waiting. I helped somebody figure out the RSS feed ad for their podcatcher of choice today. So it's really not that hard to do. Yeah. Just shoot me a message if you can't do it. I'll help you. I'll help you get through that.
All 68 folks that are listening, you need to go and to subscribe to the podcast, because they get. I remember listening to the first podcast they did, and even though I couldn't see what they're doing, it gave me a headache about talking graphs and stuff. And no, but in all seriousness, folks, it was so much information, and that's why I reached out to them. I said, Nance, we got to talk to these guys, because these guys are on fire, crackerjacks.
Yeah, when it comes to pods, like when it comes to pods, and Ryan, you do this on your channel, like the videos I've seen from you, the visuals, like they put the cherry on top. You can describe it and you can talk about like strategy and what's going on. But if you don't have a visual for somebody, whether it's in a video or something they can refer to, then you may as well be, only telling half the story. The visuals really make a difference. So we're happy to provide that every week.
And guys, Verena has a good question here, and I know she's been on Ryan's channel, and she's been on our channel, and she's a regular contributor, and she genuinely wants to understand how she does dollar cost averaging to buy little bits of Bitcoin. So Len's your guy. Len,
no. Joey's the man for this.
Joey, you're pointing up.
I'm going to show you something I've been doing lately. This is, I don't usually buy this often, but I've felt pretty good recently. So Verena, let's pretend you have Shakepay or one of these other, options to buy that offers recurring buys. I set up on Shakepay. It's a $2 buy every 3 hours or so.
How do you say? Okay.
So on my phone, I got, not only many text messages as a very popular young man, but also all these buys every day, every few hours. And I just put money in the account every time I get paid. And I keep that total up all the time. As Len will attest, I keep a little extra in the account so that when there's a dip, and this is something you have to be comfortable with, you have to find a number that you like. Ryan's nodding. He knows the strategy. If you find a dip that you like, a percentage, let's say 5% or 3% or 4%, then you dump another sum into that you keep on Shakepay. The reason I say you keep it on Shakepay is because when volume is high, Shakepay is not going to take your e-transfer, Verena. So you have to have the money there ready to go and be prepared. And I find the automatic buys help me just not worry that much about how much I'm spending, which is an irresponsible exposure amount at this point, and only growing. So,
and if anything, the automatic buys would allow for a true dollar cost average scenario into that. So that's pretty good.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
Yeah, that's awesome. I just want to circle back to Andrew here because I know he's getting a lot of slack from the comments about his 20s comment, and I think what he's trying to say is he's just trying to say that he's trying to be cautious about that. There's always going to be somebody that's going to take a profit. There's always going to be various people that honestly, Andrew, we know where you're coming from, and you are the best part about this community is everybody gets to speak their mind and have an opinion. And yeah, we're busting your chops a little bit, but the
comments are a live place.
Yeah, the show wouldn't run without the comments. So thank you, Andrew. I was too hard on you earlier. I'm sorry.
Excellent. So this is our transition time. We want to introduce you to a couple of our altcoin.
Boy, this is going to get.
We're moving into the altcoin section. We've never done this before.
I mean, Adam, let's get the CrossFitters in here. Where's the CrossFitters?
Move the couch and the coffee table. Here we go. So we are right into the 8 o'clock version of Crypto Night in Canada. Thank you so much. You're welcome to stick around. I want to introduce you to a couple of guys, though. Here is the crypto guru himself, Mr. Tim Perry.
Tim Perry's in the house. Hey, Tim, how are you?
And good, then we have, hey, what's up? And then we have the Coin Chaser. And there he is.
What's up, dude?
Hey, Neil, how are you?
Neil,
guys, if you haven't figured, yeah, that's right. So beside me is Joey, and then beside him is Len, and then, of course, Ryan. And that's Tim below you, Len, and below us is the Coin Chaser.
So just so for Tim Perry, because we haven't touched base with him this week, Joey and Len are from the Canadian Bitcoiners, okay. And they've got an awesome podcast. We stumbled upon them a couple weeks ago, reached out, and started having some Bitcoin conversations. Tim reached out. Tim's always the guy that reaches out. It's weird if a girl reaches out. They probably think something weird is happening. Yeah, we keep the anyways,
easy there, cowboy.
So they are Bitcoin maximalist. And so that I said that I don't know if you can come on to the Crypto Night in Canada. The altcoin guys might eat you alive.
Joe, that just said, oh yeah. Joey goes, yeah, okay, let's go.
We're happy to talk about it. I mean, I'm willing to watch. I'm willing to watch your chin up before I do mine, so to speak, as we talked about earlier. I mean, look, I said before you guys got here, I'm not opposed to trading, to rolling in the mud to get more Bitcoin. But if you want to convince me that something besides Bitcoin is going to be the one that wins this whole death match, I'm all ears. But I don't think it's going to go well for you.
I mean, why does it have to be a death match? Why can't there be room for more?
I'm only going on what Tim and Nancy told me. Okay, Tim and Nancy told me you guys were feisty, you'd be ready.
Here comes that Hamilton bus again. I'm telling you, man.
Oh,
here comes the bus.
Man, I'm not against Bitcoin at all.
I love it. I love it. What are you guys buying? Like, you guys are obviously buying like alts, I guess. Are you trading alts? Or are you actually like holding, looking at fundies, stuff like that? What are you guys doing?
I do various. I got my whole portfolio. I got my trading. I got my degenerate portfolio.
There's nothing wrong with a degen shot.
Well, here's the thing, right?
We all did it.
If you were in Safe Moon, which is totally degenerate, but if you were in Safe Moon 3 months ago, your $200 is worth over $45 million right now.
You're doing okay if you caught that one early.
23-year-old, he's in the news right now. He started with a tenth of an ETH, and he's worth $45 million. He doesn't have the liquidity to get out with all that, but he's still rich beyond his wildest dreams. So if you want to go, why I will never be a full Bitcoin maximalist, and I love Bitcoin, but why would I not play stuff that can outpace Bitcoin right now?
Yeah, I don't know about you. I'm going to take my Bitcoin to the Tesla dealership, pick up a new Tesla Model 3. You could take your Safe Moon to Blockbuster or Radio Shack and rent the VHS or buy a resistor to fix your plug radio.
Sell my Safe Moon for Bitcoin and then go get my Tesla.
Well, there's always that. There's always that. Journey says, peace and love, guys. There's enough room for all of us.
Oh, totally. This is just
we're all going to make it. We're all going to make it.
And then Nelson, ding, 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 round one.
I'll give Joey one thing. If you play in too many altcoins, you're not going to make it. Totally.
You're gonna get burned. You're gonna get burned. If you,
Yeah,
I mean, the same way when you go to the casino and pull the one-armed bandit a million times, you know, just because you hit it on the 30th, the odds of you hitting it again over that or course of that million are not great, right? The opportunity cost of gambling is pretty high.
If you stick with the blue chips and stuff like that, I still think you're going to outpace. Let's face it, since that March dip in 2020, even Ethereum's outpaced Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's true. No, it has for sure. The problem is that like you could pick any short time frame and find one that outperformed, like Doge outperforms or whatever. But long term, you know, the last 10 and the next 10, like I know which horse I'm tying my cart to.
Just remember, all these started at 0. And Bitcoin's around a 55K US dollars. None of them are at that price.
For sure, but it took 10 years to do that.
Yeah, for sure. I'm curious about what you guys are looking at as far as fundamentals on some of these coins. Like you use the term blue chip there. I don't know if I'd call anything besides Bitcoin blue chip. I could make a case for Monero.
Call anything blue chip.
Yeah, I could make a case for Monero maybe before layer 2 kicks in on Bitcoin really to, you know, maximum effect, but
Monero would be a blue chip.
What are you guys looking at for blue chip?
Chainlink, Aave.
I'm holding some Kusama.
Kusama's on its way to blue chip. It's got to be around for the last few years and ascending in price and doesn't get shook by, you know.
I got hope.
A lot of alts right now are already retracing in the last 3 weeks, like beyond belief. But the higher blue chips are still holding up really well. You know, something like
yeah, go ahead. Sorry. No, I cut you off there. I'm getting used to the live stream thing. So you guys are pros. I'm just like speaking out of turn.
That's okay.
He normally cuts me off all the time, so I'm used to it.
Something like Aave, which is up, you know, 5,000x and doesn't stop. And in fact, went against Bitcoin's tide last year. That's a blue chip to me now. Like it's just earned it's earned its stripes. So
it's a pump and dump.
Aave.
What are the liquidity issues there?
What's that?
What kind of liquidity issues you guys run into? Like, are you on? Because I don't think there's a lot of like quote unquote, maybe legal is the wrong word, but white exchanges in Canada, right? Is there?
Well, no, you stick to decentralized now with lock liquidity, and you're usually pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. You're not worried that like there's going to be a rug pull on some of this stuff. Like I think about like the case that people make about Bitcoin, like the government's going to ban it. It's basically like the last bastion of that whole Bitcoin's not going to make it argument from that group of people. And I think like it's much more likely that the government will step in and regulate unregulated lending on DeFi before they regulate, you know, Bitcoin as a store of value or as an investing vehicle.
It's possible. I mean, obviously Bitcoin's going to be the one that kind of holds the test of this regulation, this stuff, but you got decentralization. Just you can't stop anything now. I mean, you could just do Web3 results and stuff like you can. I don't know. I don't see. Well, sorry. I want to go back to your rug pull thing. There's sites now you can check the code, right? You can audit any contract and see if it's rug pullable, if they can mint coins, if they can do stuff like that.
So what's the like you guys mentioned a few there. I'm not sure about Link and Aave, but maybe you can tell me what's like the production schedule on those. The what's the inflation policy?
What do you mean? Like they're deflationary, like the tokenomics?
Yeah.
Well, obviously, so you have some. Aave doesn't have. It's got a total circulation, I think, 13 million. No more, no less. And obviously, there's no burn or deflationary mechanism in that. But same as Bitcoin, right?
Yeah, Bitcoin's
not deflationary. It's deflationary in a sense that you can't print anymore. But you got coins now that are burning out of circulation.
In Bitcoin?
No. In altcoin.
So who decides when to burn?
Well, they have it in the system. So say, for instance, you have some coins that every time there's a buy and sell, anytime there's on an exchange, there's some coins that are burned. It depends on the tokenomics, right? Every different altcoin has different tokenomics. You have Reflect Finance, which kind of has this, every time you have to do a 10% slippage. So you have to add 10% to the price. So when you sell, all those coins, or at 10% of those coins then goes to anyone else who's holding Reflect Finance. So now people are integrating that kind of tokenomics and other coins on top of, you know, being an LP, a liquidity provider coin or stuff like this. So they're all integrating and creating more Frankenstein monsters. It's all an experiment, obviously, but.
Yeah, I was going to say, what problem, like one of the things I have talked to Len about on our show is like how it seems like a lot of these altcoins are solving problems that don't exist. So I'm trying to give you guys benefit of the doubt. You guys are obviously much more interested in the alt sphere than I am. So I'm curious about what products are these coins replacing, or like who are they making life easier for, or
well, I mean,
more access to, or
yield app, which I'm big on right now. I can be a lender now, so I can be my own bank and I can lend money to you and earn my own interest. Also, you can borrow. So if you want to borrow, you also get incentivized. You get paid yield tokens when you get that loan paid off in on time. You know, and Bitcoin, you can't do that. So if you want to know the future of Bitcoin, you look at Ravencoin, because that's what Satoshi had in mind. But Satoshi couldn't do it at the time. Now, don't get me wrong, the code is nowhere near as clean as Bitcoin is, but Satoshi had in mind messaging and a whole lot of other things, layers that was supposed to go on Bitcoin, but she entity couldn't pull it off at the time. So in my opinion, don't get me wrong, I think Bitcoin's great, but Bitcoin will soon be eclipsed by future technology.
You really think that?
I do. Yeah. I don't think it's coming anytime soon, but.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was going to say, let's put a date on it. Let's get the red book out.
I mean, there's already distributed ledgers going a lot faster, transactions going a lot faster than Bitcoin.
A lot less secure.
It's just the fact is you just got a cult now behind Bitcoin.
Yeah, you know? as opposed to the hashtag armies on Twitter. I know that's definitely less cultish than the Bitcoin.
There's one thing I'm going to take away from this discussion. Thank you for providing this information. When I leave this, I'm actually going to buy more Bitcoin. That's it. I'm stacking.
Whoa. Ouch.
It's all good fun. It's all good fun.
Yeah,
but, okay,
that's why we did this. That's why we did this.
So okay,
we're
gonna take off. Thank you for having us. I hope we can do this again. To the altcoin crowd, thank you for entertaining our stupid comments and bad jokes. And to the commenters, thank you for tuning in. Hopefully, we see you guys again. Subscribe to the show, the Canadian Bitcoiners podcast. Len, do you want to give a parting shot here?
What else do we want to say? Stack Bitcoin. That's it.
Stay humble, stack sats, baby. Stay humble, stack sats.
That's why we love you guys. Thanks so much for coming in. It was truly a pleasure. Take care. Well, there you go.
And now there were 6. Hi, Ken. How are you?
That was very interesting to listen to.
It was. And the funny thing is that Tim Perry is a Bitcoiner. He loves Bitcoin.
I'm not against it. That's for sure.
That's right.
Yeah.
The way I look at it is Bitcoin's your dollar and altcoins are your change. So you just you trade your altcoins to make a dollar.
You're more on the page of the two who just left. So, and but I'm kind of on their page as well. But I'm still not at that point where I'm even willing to trade my change. Like I can't even, I have such a hard time getting into.
This is the quietest you've been in a while. Like, what the heck?
I got spoiled.
I got
spoiled.
I wish I could ask those guys. When did they first get in?
2017, I think they said.
2017.
All right. So yeah, then that you know, anybody who's newbies, like right now, most people aren't even in crypto. So they're averse to even crypto. And they're guarding the past. And then you have all these Bitcoin maximalists who are also now just guarding Bitcoin. You know, and I'm not against Bitcoin. That's the funny part. I'm open-minded, but the fact is, if you study any technology right now, things are going at a rapid pace. And I'll be dead honest with everybody right now. Crypto is game over when quantum computing comes. It's over. So we don't even need to talk about Bitcoin in 10 years. There's a good chance that some quantum computer will hack the whole Bitcoin system within 10 to 15 years.
Yeah. No,
that's scary. That's really scary.
Yeah, I actually never thought about that, and now I feel like I've just.
Oh, like I just got over something was under my bed, and now you're telling me the quantum thing was gonna come at me. It's like, good. There we go.
That's what's. You'll see all these quantum resistant coins coming out. Bitcoin's not quantum resistant. Don't get me wrong, though. It's probably more quantum resistant than the one saying quantum resistant. But there is fears already coming for quantum computing if you look hard enough.
Well, you know, that's these are all the things we have to ponder. I just want to take a quick moment to, first of all, welcome Ken, the Great White Vaper, to the chat this evening. I wanted to personally thank you all for joining us again, and welcome everybody to the second half of Crypto Night in Canada. And this is where, because there's a bunch of you that have been waiting to have Coin Chaser, Ken, and Tim in to get all the altcoins in. There was a question that just came up, and I think this one Ryan Hemsley can answer. It is, which book should I read to understand how cryptocurrency works from history to present?
Okay, you know what? I'll give you the one that I've read so far, but I read the Bitcoin Standard, and funny enough, okay, it wasn't as much about crypto as it was about the history of currency and why all currency fails. So only because you just said from history to present, I would say that book that I did read, that was the Bitcoin Standard. If you're really asking a question like this, where you're just getting into it, that was a wicked little introduction book, but that's the only one I've read so far.
Hey, so Coin Chaser, what are you following? What's new and exciting with you? And what are you? You've been quiet on Twitter. On Twitter, I mean.
You know what? I've gone back to work, and my wife's working, and I've got kids, so it's just the time is not. It's not there. I was on leave when I first started getting into this, so I was with the girls all day. You know, from like before 6 a.m. and going to bed at 11, so I had the time. But basically, I haven't done much since the dip and the correction, and you know, I'm not sure what to do right now. So I thought the best thing I could do is just sit on my hands.
Okay.
So right now I'm kind of looking at maybe I've got a little bit of extra funds, maybe getting a little BNB, but like one, I'm kind of looking at trying to make a little bit safer moves right now. I've got a little bit of Ethereum that I'm just going to sit on for a while, a little bit of Bitcoin. But the one thing, and the tough part is they were just taking shots, but they weren't ready to even listen to anything. And what I was going to say is I'm actually in alts to take my profits in Bitcoin, to accumulate Bitcoin. I don't have $6 grand.
Though we did only have that few minute transition period there, but I mean, so if anything, it was just kind of an intro to the differences. So I wouldn't say that they weren't listening, because I know that they're open to hearing about it.
But it's like that part of my strategy is when I've invested, and this has been evolving over time, is I want to be able to pull what I've invested plus 25%. So basically 125% is ideal. And I want to take that first 25% in Bitcoin and not touch it. So like, this is my opportunity to actually accumulate more Bitcoin from everything I've read from 2017. And now this is actually the time not to be holding Bitcoin, because other things move more. And then you can get into Bitcoin after you've made higher gains. So, and I've also really been going for things that I think are not, you know, bear market proof, but really, if they get adopted, are going to be fine. And one of those is Orion, ORN. It's you know, taking some punches and stuff. But if you've been watching them the last week, the amount of partnerships they've come out, Polkadot was one of the more recent ones. They're just releasing partnership after partnership after partnership. And if I really had money, I'd be going back into Orion, because I think it's actually a trading platform. It has so much utility. Like, I would highly recommend anyone. Like, it was hovering around $14.
Wow.
Okay.
And so that's what I've been looking at, because I feel like it could go, and then Bitcoin.
I have a question for all 6 of you here, because I'm just swapping between. I just got a notification on my thing right now. Swapped out. I told the Danters, and again, most of you were already listening, but you guys just came on. I did a little bit of a swing trade, bailed at Ethereum at 2,400. I'm in profit regardless of where I go. Do I put my money into Bitcoin right now, or do I put it back into Ethereum? I'm in profit whichever one I do, but I'm doing one in the next 10 seconds. Whichever one you guys think I should go back into, Bitcoin or Ethereum?
Ethereum.
Nancy. Okay, I'm thinking Ethereum. Nancy's cringing. What are you thinking?
Ethereum.
I'm okay. You thinking Ethereum? Because I did profit nicely on it. Okay, Neil.
Start looking at the dominance, man.
I know.
Ethereum is what I've put my bag in right now,
This is playing out exactly the same as 2017. Bitcoin dominance is dropping. ETH is picking up. Today, Bitcoin dropped 4%, and coins barely shook.
Okay,
Ken?
Ethereum
will run the pack. It'll lead the pack, and then everything else will rise. If we're going to get that mythical alt season, everyone seems to be waiting for. The tide. Everything looks like it's shaping up for it. I've warned everyone, though, we're in for more pain. I'm still expecting 2 more weeks. You can ask Neil. I called it to the T last Saturday. I wrote Neil. I go, guys, Bitcoin's about to puke, and I started moving money out. Like I've got our Z that I sold. I sold it all. I put it into all US dollars. An hour later, 10% drop right there.
Thank you.
I woke up and went into work on Sunday morning for 6:30, and I'm looking at my phone walking. I'm like, I'm really glad I'm nowhere near my computer. Like this is.
I gave a play-by-play.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Because I was just like, I've been calling for it for a while. It's not, the markets aren't this easy, and people keep thinking it's that easy. They're like, I'm going to get into Doge, and it's going to go straight to $1. The other day, 420 on 420, we're going to pump Doge, and it's going to go crazy. So what do all the whales do that are going to play you like a fiddle? They're going to pump it on the 19th, and then they dump it on you on the 20th. And everyone's like, oh, what happened? This is why you lose money.
That was so friggin' predictable.
Yeah. God. But the herd is predictable.
God.
You know, and SafeMoon too. SafeMoon did a huge drop today and then bounced back again. It's doing all that.
Yeah. No, it's really, really interesting. Okay, so there was a lot of people asking a ton of questions in here. But prior to that, we're actually going to give a first.
No, you got to let me kind of putz with it first in order to make sure before you kind of, throw me under the bus.
We were going to try something, but we'll go back to coins. So I know that there was a lot of people asking a lot of questions. And so throw out your questions. They're asking about the 80s legend, Tim Perry.
They're never going to forget.
I had some obnoxious shirts, but I figured I wasn't going to hog, it was pretty flamboyant.
So what was the question? Sorry, Nancy, you were just mentioning.
Yeah, I got lost.
I know.
Me too.
I'm just trying to. Tim's got to fix something on the computer, so you guys are going to have to carry it for a minute. Let's talk about a coin.
Well, if you want, I can roll with the whole SafeMoon thing and stuff.
Oh,
yes.
Go. People are.
Someone just put, what do I think about SafeMoon? SafeMoon is an absolute degenerate play, but as Neil knows, for the last week, I've been watching everyone go into coins that have absolutely zero use case. They're all meme coins. And you know what, though? If you want, play the trend. I figured if I can't beat them, join them. So with very minimal, and I'm telling you guys, if you guys got no money that you don't want to lose, you do not play these plays. You will lose your money. It's like walking in a landmine field. But I threw just the other day, I threw $150 in, and in an hour, my money was gone in some SafeMoon fork or something like that. So, but then I jumped in another one, and now I'm up pretty good. So,
I'm just so turned off of altcoins after getting so hyped up on Uniswap, and it's literally done nothing since the moment that I got it.
You haven't got version 3 in late May yet, and you also haven't experienced an altcoin season yet.
Are we not in altcoin season?
I would reckon no. Some people obviously debate against me, but until dominance drops below 40%, I don't believe there's an alt season yet. An alt season is when you wake up and you've done a 10x overnight. And then you go back to sleep the next night, you wake up, and it's done another 10x, and then so on and so on and so on.
Well, here's a good one for you. You guys seen on Friday that I posted about the Theta pumping, right? So I bought into Theta at $10.50 a coin, and I sold it just under 20. And then Saturday, when Bitcoin crashed, I bought back in at 12. So I made an additional 60% in coins.
Wow, nice play.
So that was that was
nice
an odd
scalp.
play to happen. I did that at 12:30 at night. I was like, "What's going on?"
I try to tell and I'm trying to tell Neil and our other buddy about preservation of capital, and because a lot of newbies too, they don't think, they're like, oh, my coin's dipped 20%, I'll wait on a pump. No, you don't understand crypto. It can keep going down, and it can keep going down. It can keep going down.
Yeah.
So sometimes you got to just recognize I'd rather just sell now and buy back later. It's up to you, obviously, if you just want to ride it out. But for me, it's preservation of capital, because then I can buy back lower, and then when it pumps, I've got even more money, right? So, but I mean, I wish the other two dudes were still here, just because I just thought of in 2017, if you were to put your money, it depends on when they got in. But when they got in 2017, if you got in at the end and the tail end, you were about $15,000 to $20,000 at Bitcoin. then you've only doubled your money since 2017. But if you're on something like Aave, you become a millionaire over with $1,000. So I don't know. It depends on what your goals are. If your goals are to make money, then you want to play everything. You gotta play.
Yeah, you gotta play.
And then you want to go into some Bitcoin again and ride out Bitcoin waves. You follow the dominance. Because I'm going to tell you right now, why would I be in Bitcoin when the dominance is dropping? Altcoins are going to go nuts. And then once I see the dominance go up, I'm going to get back in Bitcoin because that's when Bitcoin's going to rip.
Right.
You know, this is the problem with maximalism. You're closed-minded to making a lot of money.
Well, see, this is the first time I've actually put actual cash in to buy a coin. I had around 12 Bitcoin that I earned from mining and trading way back when. So this is really interesting to actually put my own hard-earned money into it and actually see what it's doing.
Right.
Yeah.
And it feels like roulette. It used to feel like roulette, but there's so many patterns if you just follow them that you can actually make decent money in crypto. Like it's nuts. Like this dominance thing, it's so cut and dry, and that's why I'm so skeptical. Because if I was thinking like a whale or these manipulators, because the whole thing's a Ponzi, like I've said before, Bitcoin's a Ponzi. It's all a Ponzi. It's just less of a Ponzi than fiat. But like, if you know that when dominance drops and ETH goes up, that usually, that altcoins will run after. If everyone knew, like everyone's getting salty about Dogecoin running up right now. I'm like, don't be salty about Dogecoin. Dogecoin. Whatever.
Doge.
That coin.
It has literally been the forerunner for every single massive alt season from like 2016 on. So if this is any indicator, it just means that we're in for a hell of an alt season.
Wait a minute.
Who knows though?
Wait a minute, Tim. You're telling me that this is a newbie comp.
Yep.
Something in my teeth. This is a newbie comment. You're telling me that 17 and 13 Doge was the front runner to this?
Every time Dogecoin front ran the market,
I never knew that.
What followed is a massive alt season. Yeah.
Okay, never knew that. That is so interesting.
So you have all these indicators, right? And don't get me wrong, I am so skeptical because we've had a pretty good year, and I'm just like, it can't be this. It can't be the patterns. It can't be this easy for someone like me. But then I keep seeing it playing out, and I'm like, I'm always trading against the patterns, going, wait a minute, though, I'm seasoned, and all these newbies who are jumping into Doge now and SafeMoon and stuff like this, they're going to get burned because I saw it happen. This is exactly what happened in the fall of 2020. All the good coins were running in the summer, and then September, October, everything retraced hard, and everyone started playing degenerate coins, what you're seeing right now. And after that, bam, another little run. But we didn't have the dominance drop that we have now. So all of this is creating a massive storm. You've got dominance dropping like crazy today. Bitcoin dominance was 48%, which is the lowest it's been since early 2018 at the end of the last bull run. You have Ethereum dominance going up. You have Doge running the front lines like it did before. This is all shaping up for who knows? But
it's funny how the ratios are changing because I watch it every day, and then you see, I mean, a lot of times the charts are pretty similar, but lately, I mean, the growth with Ethereum, because that's all I'm tracking right now. I also track Litecoin out of curiosity, but the ratios between Ethereum and Bitcoin are like, I'm looking at the chart right now, the live chart right now. Ethereum's up 3.5%. Bitcoin is down an equal 3.5%. Like it is, and Bitcoin's right now sitting at 53,000, say 800 American, and Ethereum's at almost 2,400, and it's shifting. It's very unique.
And if the dominance, say if Bitcoin was sitting at its 60% dominance like it usually does, and it was at 3%, Ethereum would be down 6 to 10% right now.
Yeah,
because usually it's double. So you're starting to see once the dominance drops, it has less effect on the altcoins. And and
very interesting
when these your little Bitcoin dudes come back on, but like, sorry, I didn't mean that. I just
little Bitcoin dudes. Oh, I so wish they were here to defend that. Oh, that would make good TV. As you say in the industry, good TV.
Time, that's
wow. I know. You know what? Sure, let's have some fun. But
How do you know they were 4 foot 2 inches?
Just gonna take care
I
of
was just going because the screen was small. That's why it came to my head. I think differently, you know. It wasn't.
So say that thing again.
Anyways,
So when
back to where I'm saying, I don't think you'll ever see Bitcoin dominance at some point be what it's always been in the past. Once adoption comes and people get more into, like, the Zoomers were buying SafeCoin and all these degenerate coins. They weren't buying Bitcoin because a lot of people look at Bitcoin, they look at the price, and these Zoomers get scared off by the price. So don't get me wrong, it's stupid, and I don't agree with them. And I would agree with the Bitcoin guys that that's a dumb way to look at it, but this seems to be the trend. So all I'm saying is when dominance drops.
But I think
finish that sentence because I got my pen. When dominance drops, what?
Well, when dominance drops, Bitcoin won't have the influence that it has. Like if it's at 30%, it didn't in 2017. Coins didn't give a crap what Bitcoin was doing anymore. So Bitcoin's always going to be king for as long as crypto's around for the most part. It'll always be king. I'll always give it that. I'm never going to go against that. But the fact that like other coins won't be breaking away and decoupling from its influence means I'd rather be in something that's going to give me multiple gains.
Yeah. Okay. So we want to talk about Aave for a minute because I'm trying to capture comments that I think could strike a good conversation. With Aave, how do they decide who they lend crypto to? And it just sounds risky. So what's their sort of thought process? Do you know, Tim?
I don't know the ins and outs of Aave, but if it's anything like Yield, the loans go to anybody who want the loans. You have to put collateral up on a smart contract, and then you're good to go. Because if you get liquidated and you don't pay that back, you're liquidated. So you'd rather pay it back.
Yeah. So here's a comment here. Warren Buffett buying XRP, which is an absolute, to me, influencer pump thing. If he's doing that, do you take heed in what is happening there because he is the guy, or do you take more stock in the fact that they look like they're starting to wiggle out of that court case?
I don't believe that for a second. I'm gonna have to Google that myself because Warren Buffett absolutely detests crypto.
Okay.
Yeah, that's weird, eh?
Yeah. Okay.
But Warren Buffett also loves gold, and he just dropped one of his biggest gold holdings known to man, and I made a video about it. So I have no idea what's going on with that.
Quick Google, I don't see anything. There's nothing in the main news about Warren Buffett.
So yeah, if you could maybe clarify where you got that comment from, that would be not to us, but the name's gone. I mean, last night was it last night we were on no, I was watching. Yeah, it was last night, Ryan. You had, oh my gosh, what was the young lady's name?
And Sophie.
Sophie and Sophie, Tim and Ken, geez, my God.
And Neil.
Hi Neil, how are you? Made a comment that the reason why, I believe her comment was the reason why she wasn't so much into the altcoins was it was just too many platforms to have to worry about. Like
certain coins are only
do you know what I'm saying? So and Tim, I know from discussions and what you've educated us on before, but just in case Sophie's watching tonight, you can't help but not have to work with a couple of platforms if you want a specific coin, correct? There is not one-stop shop for all altcoins, is there?
No, not at all. But that to me is also why the appeal to make tons of gains is there, right? Like I've told you, if you find a coin, which I'm in a total degenerate coin right now, it's not on CoinGecko yet. So if it's not on CoinGecko, then chances are you're going to make pretty good gains if it picks up, some steam. If you find one that's only on one exchange yet and it's just coming out, then you want to get it before it gets on something like Binance. So yeah, it's a lot of work. I mean, that's not something I recommend people who have 9-to-5s that want to get into crypto do. You can still get into a blue chip on Binance and still make a healthy profit. But I'm looking for I want this little 23-year-old that I'm now envious about that just jumped in and saw SafeMoon and thought it was a cheap coin that became a millionaire. I want that.
Who doesn't? Who doesn't? Okay, so somebody said that was a wrong thing about Warren Buffett, but then it says
would buy XRP.
Oh, would buy.
Yeah.
So it hasn't bought,
isn't
but
buying
would buy.
Yeah, that's like I gotta believe it's
Talk is cheap.
Okay, that's okay.
Okay.
We won't beat him up on that, or her or them up too much on that.
Okay, so this one's for Tim and the Coin Chaser. What lower priced altcoins do you recommend?
I'll let Neil.
What's lowered price? So like I did
Under
see
a buck.
Under a buck.
Yeah, but do you want lower priced, or do you want like low market cap, low circulation that pumps easier too? Like,
Which is better?
I would rather have a low circulation, low market cap coin over a coin that's a penny
And
and
why?
has 3 billion, or like I'm sorry, I'm not hating on Omi. I'm just saying Omi's got 168 billion coins. There's a reason it's at a penny. Whereas something like Curate that just did a deal with Expedia the other day that I'm high on. It's got 2 million coins out there. That's 10 times less than even Bitcoin. So
What I'm hearing, like I watch as much as I can. I kind of watch videos. I put on different YouTube things and walk around with an earbud in while I'm doing stuff. And a lot of people are talking about oracles and DeFi kind of being that's what's going to probably go next. So Chainlink's a really good one. I think I'm just looking at it, it's like $36. I'm actually thinking after we wrap up here, I'm probably going to go get a little bit more. I think it's definitely a strong play. Lots of people are talking about it. It's the top oracle. And the other one that I've been hearing about is Band. It's almost like a number 2. You want to kind of see what Oracle is going to fill that number 2 spot, because Chainlink's huge, but why not look at the first 1, 2, or 3 if something's going to run? That's kind of what I've been looking at. And another kind of thing I've been looking at is adoption. So as someone new, when I read about a coin and what it does and the utility the coin has, I try and think about if someone like me or similar to me would understand this and want to use it. And that's kind of what I look at. At first, I was always looking at, I want the 10-cent coin or the 20-cent coin, but that doesn't mean anything if it's not going to be adopted, if it's not actually going to be useful. So like, I really do try and pick stuff that I think is going to have longevity and really that it's going to go up, that I can take my money out and keep some coins that are going to have value and then go invest the next one. So that's kind of what I've been doing.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Neil, if so, in the case that you're thinking of going and buying a new coin, you're obviously going to work within your portfolio. What do you use in determining and making the decision to pull out of a certain coin or take a certain amount of a coin to go into this new one you want? Or do you just look at the weakest performer and you're off the island?
No, because there's a couple that have gone down that I'm just going to hold on to them because I think in a month or 2 weeks they're going to be where I thought they were going to be. But to be honest with you, I'll probably pull from Bitcoin.
Oh.
I was actually thinking of moving Bitcoin into BNB just because I think it has some potential to really jump. Pardon me, but it's just because Chainlink's going down to a price where I was kicking myself for not buying it at $36. So
I think everybody wants the 1000x bagger for sure.
So, but I think just pick the stuff that you think has the ability to be adopted and to be, as the one guy watched, he always says network effect. And that's one reason why I really like Orion, because the partnerships are coming nonstop. So for me, that means that other companies believe in you. And if other companies believe in you more than or as much as you believe in yourself, that's a good sign, right? Because if you were doing all this stuff and nobody wanted to work with you, I think that's a bad sign.
Yeah, no, I agree. So let's just go back to a couple of these things. We've got Genuine is saying Tone, food tracking utility coin. Anybody heard about this?
No.
That's this
There's a lot
one
of
here.
I'm seeing out on the comments that I have no idea.
And Verena's going about FLR token. Have we heard that one?
No.
FLR?
No.
Nope.
No, I've been really the last few days I've been going degenerate.
Oh, geez. Oh, geez. I want to hear the stories of these things.
I got one rug pull and one 5X, so I'm doing okay.
Oh, that's amazing. That is amazing. Twin World said he noticed that route is under $5 now. How are you doing on your route there, Tim Perry?
I'm officially down right now, but I don't look at the price of any coins that I think my fundamentals are good at, especially in this market. I would have sold. I was going to sell that day that I just told you about. Unfortunately, I had unstaked my route, and I didn't know that I was in a locked time period for 2 weeks to get it back. So it is what it is. But most of my coins, there's like Curate, I also haven't sold because that seems to be, it goes down a lot, but then it bounces right back up. So there's some coins that are very low market cap that I'm still haven't sold out of, but I sold out of a lot of, like I sold out of most of my Union on that dip right before the Bitcoin I drop. I sold out of a lot of stuff, and I've been sitting mostly in US dollars, and I've also just been doing a couple degens.
It's interesting on the YouTube University on some of them. I don't know whether it was Lark Davis or whether it was Rob from Digital Asset News, but I've heard Aave being thrown around a bit now out there. And also the topic of insurance, about insuring coins, insuring homes, insuring, just as you were saying, Tim.
Well, they're going to do mortgages. I would put, I'll put money against any Bitcoin maximalist that Aave at the price it is right now will outpace Bitcoin from here on.
Really?
In the next few years.
Aave will outpace Bitcoin.
Yeah, Mark Cuban even says it's like the next JP Morgan. Mark Cuban thinks it's going to be about a $500 billion market cap within the next couple of years.
Wow.
So you got about another 100 to 200x to go.
That's interesting. Okay. Nelson wants to know how close we are to making that farming and staking video. Ryan, we got to put that on our agenda, because we keep trying to, we say this every week, but the world gets away from us just like everybody else.
And the funny thing is, for all of you who are watching, it takes a lot more in the background to develop these videos. So we're going to get on it for sure. We just got to set the time and we'll rock and roll with it.
No.
Yep. Okay. So Gary says ADA is down. That's Cardano, and it's a good time to buy. How's everybody feel about ADA?
I mean, it'll go up, but we know my feelings fundamentally.
Yeah, you don't love that. You don't love that. Hey, shall we even utter the phrase? How about Chili's? Chili's.
I'm still like, I hate to say it, guys, but this NFT hype has really deflated a lot.
Yeah, you know what? I was going to bring that up, and maybe that's what I forgot I was going to say. But the NFT, I have not heard the hype about it, and it doesn't seem to be front and center on YouTube right now. YouTube University. It doesn't seem to. Neil, what do you? What's your?
Before Neil says what he's going to say, I will say I've watched a few videos on Omi, because we've got a position in Omi, and they've actually got a fairly decent roadmap of projects and things that they're going to be releasing from now until November. So I feel okay about holding there, because they're actually, and Neil's a good one to jump in with me on this one, but did you see that video about the projects that they're going to be releasing for Omi over the next coming weeks and months?
No. Where did you see that video?
I don't know, but I will find it and I will send it if I can re-find it. But it was really good. There was a good roadmap of what they were going to release and what projects were coming back onto the platform.
There's someone that I was following today that I saw an interesting tweet, and I told Tim about it. I got to dig on it. It's just I haven't had a chance yet.
Yep.
But they were kind of hinting at, they went into and found a Pokemon game, and it was a conversation with David Yu, and the statement he used after he said he couldn't say anything was the title of the Pokemon game.
Yeah.
But like in context of the conversation. So I'm going to try and find it to see if this is like actually, FUD, or maybe there's someone who's been digging and really working hard. I just think it's got a lot of interesting aspects, and as they continue to grow, they're going to have more releases of every NFT. And so that means that every time they have a release, their token burns are going to be even higher. And every time there's a sale in the marketplace, there's a token burn. And I've actually been following someone on Twitter, and I think it's Ami Token Burn. And they talk about how much has been burnt every day. So I think, there's definitely always going to be risk, but I think it's a pretty good value. If it gets onto some bigger exchanges, it could do some stuff. But I think it's more, if you like the app and you think about adoption, that you should go that route. I don't think you should just grab it because everyone's grabbing it. But if everybody grabs it, it's probably good for me. So
yeah, well, Rye Guy's in the house, and he says VV is VR and AR compatible, and it's going to be huge. So VR, virtual, maybe we could go through that so people know what VR and AR.
Virtual reality, obviously you got the headset on and it feels like you're in the game, and augmented reality is like Pokemon Go when you've got the computer guys running around in the real world looking thing.
I think that could be cool. It's very niche to me.
100%. But it's also like Omi, there's nothing bad with what Omi's doing. And if they pull off Pokemon, like I've said before, then it's game over. It'll propel it into, it won't even matter if the narrative for NFTs is dying. But as you're seeing with Eternity and all these top-notch coins, they are good coins. They aren't bad. They're real working, businesses with good CEOs, this and that, or whatever you want to call it. The problem is when the narrative takes a hit in crypto, it takes a hit. DeFi had a crazy summer last summer. The fall, it absolutely ruined all the DeFi coins because the narrative was gone. And I keep telling people, stop being so big about the coin and be bigger about the narrative. I'm not telling people to get in meme coins right now, but the fact is meme coins are making people rich right now. And I don't advise on these ones because there's nothing to them, but the trend is meme coins and they're making little 23-year-old kid millionaires. So
they're also like
coin,
breaking the
like
bank of a lot of 23-year-old kids.
Right?
Well, yeah. But Ken, what do you got any coins that you're into looking at that are
Theta is going to start releasing NFTs soon. Sony will actually be launching a whole bunch of music through them in movies.
I know Tim groans about Theta because that was the one he wanted at 4 cents.
And Theta and Engine are the two blue chip kings of NFTs.
Okay.
And then Decentraland, Mana. Those would be actually, I could bring it up right now. It'll even tell you by market cap.
For the person asking earlier, like less expensive coins, I'd say Theta would be a pretty good buy. I think I just saw it at $11-12. That'd be a pretty good buy. I went a different route with another company, and I've been looking at Theta. I just haven't, but it's up there. Another one I'd say for someone new that it's had a pretty big retracement after huge growth is Luna. It's actually, has multiple currencies or currencies within the system, and it's got a 5% adoption in Korea. So it's already been like rolled out, and it's one of a pretty fast growing coin. So if you're looking for things, these are in the $10 range, which I know when I first started, I was like $10. No, like I want the ones that are a nickel that are going to go to $1. Like, and you need to look more at the product and what they're going to do.
So let me ask you a question. I'm on CoinGecko. I know someone else mentioned another platform to look at, and I keep forgetting that. But I'm on Mana, MANA, and Tim, I'm on the price chart, and what it's showing is 24, 7-day, 14-day, 30-day, 60-day, 1 year, and it's pretty high double-digit, increases there.
Mana was my first 10x in crypto.
Okay.
Really?
Wow. Yeah. Huh. But it's down 5% in 24 hours. Other than that, it's been up. Is that just following that because it's gone like from 22% over 7 days to 5% in 24 hours? Is that just the natural evolution of what altcoins are doing this past week? Or is that an indicator to you that maybe it's losing its luster? Because it's
that kind of thing. So all the micro caps like Root and Union and a lot of the ones that I like to be in because those are the biggest gainers in the long run, they're getting hammered right now. Micro caps are getting just plundered, whereas the majors and the mid caps are getting good love right now. But if you were to look at a chart, which I've shown you the altcoin list before. There's another one that shows you the cycle of how the money moves in crypto. It starts in Bitcoin. It then goes to Ethereum. It then goes to the majors. So like your top 10, top 20, then to the mid caps, then to the micros. Obviously, you always have little exceptions to the rule. But right now, you're seeing the shakeout in the micros. And anytime there's usually a massive shakeout, you'll see that narrative will kick back in hardcore. Because in my opinion, it's the psychological trying to get you to shake you up before they absolutely go ballistic.
Oh, that's awesome. So what you're saying is just hang tight. So the stuff that you've been saying to us all along, for the most part, because they got good fundamentals, we should just hang on to them. We should just hang tight.
Like the only reason I sold, like I said, is preservation of capital. I'm getting back in uni and I'm going to get him back with more. If you're a 9-to-5 job and you can't do this all the time, then I wouldn't sweat, the long-term thing for Union or any of these coins that I've told before. I mean, yield right now is getting absolutely smashed, but the fundamentals couldn't be any better. The UI design on their site's better. They're about to integrate, so the gas is going to be cheaper because that's been holding down the lending platform. All these coins that I've talked about, other than Kasha, I'm not pleased with Kasha that I've talked about.
And the same thing does apply for the stock aspect of things too. I always find it funny how people seem to clue in when it's with respect to things that they're interested in. But if it's something that you believe in, really don't stress about the short-term aspect of things, guys. It's really not an issue. For all those people expecting a stock crash, who cares? For all those people who are expecting the eventual, because there will be corrections coming in crypto, who cares? At the end of the day, that's exactly what Tim Perry just said. As long as you're convicted with respect to what you're buying, relax and just take a chill pill on it, dollar cost average into it.
Yeah, because I'd be a millionaire right now if I'd held on to all my Aave. And that's my biggest lesson now. Anything that I've had, anything that I fully believe in now, I won't look at it, because when the shakeout happened last fall with Aave, I sold my 240,000 coins.
Damn.
Which would make me a multimillionaire right now.
I sold 1 million Doge coins back in 2014.
I'd be 300K. Well, I've seen Anchor. Anchor's another one I'd be way up there had I just held. Theta, obviously, but there's certain, I was in Theta at 4 cents, but I only did it as a trade, so it doesn't sting me as much as tracking Aave from 2017 on, selling it, wait until it dropped to a penny and being like, oh, I'm gonna get back in it now. Riding it up to 70 cents, it dropped, and I sold out at 55 cents because I was so worried. It dropped down to 25 cents. I was going to buy back in. I was actually going to own even more. I was going to have close to 500,000 coins, and I was like, oh, I'll come back to it. And then I went total degen, lost most of my money, and Aave just decided, hey, screw you, I'm going for a ride.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Well, I want to jump back over here to some of the questions. So Jason Spooner's asking, how many different coins should we be in at one time? What do you think is a good number to keep your eye on? We can answer this really zippity-doo-dah. Ken, maybe you can give us an answer to this one.
I say 5.
5?
And there should be different levels that you're paying for them as well. Like you could have a penny or two, and then a mid-level, and then, some coins over $20,
Yeah. And then Elmo is asking thoughts on Algorand, Tezos, and Monero.
So I agree that one of the Bitcoin guys had talked about Monero. I really like it. It's a privacy coin, which is always going to be needed, especially when regulations and stuff come in and all those kind of things. And if you want to not have the tax man coming at you. Tezos, good coin. I'm really shocked by the price move in the last year. It's literally been stagnant, but it's good. And Algo, oh man, Algo's making moves right now.
Well, okay, what's the narrative around Tezos? What does it do?
Ooh, it's been a long time. You mentioned so many different.
The $1 million question for all these.
I can bring it up. It'll jog my memory here in 2 seconds.
Well, while you're looking that up, Tim, the other thing for the rest of us here is that there has been a growing concern about privacy. Especially with China having their own cryptocurrency in circulation now. It's like Big Brother knows exactly what you're doing and can shut you down at any point in time. And the only thing that I've seen come out right now is that you do it with is it a VPN? Is that the right word?
Yep.
And does that actually, I don't know much, but
totally.
Does that actually, that'll work, eh?
I've used VPNs to go into China.
Oh, interesting.
But I also use the dark web. If people don't realize that the dark web's out there, it's scary, but yeah, I've been going on the dark web for a lot of crypto stuff lately.
Wow. Algo, it says is super for staking.
What'd you find out about Tezos?
It's a platform. I forgot, but there's a whole lot. I'm not going to rhyme it all off. It's another platform and da-da-da-da-da, but it's I remember reading into it, and it's got strong teams. I remember I don't remember, that's all I kind of remember getting from the gist of it.
Yeah.
I'm more what I'm shocked by is it's only done like a 1x in the year.
Yeah. So Nate's piped in. Nate's a really great contributor to the channel. Monero is having a fork soon, which is good to know. And he said first he comments says Tezos is a blockchain network that's based on smart contracts, in a way not too dissimilar from Ethereum. And then he says, however, there's a big difference. Tezos aims to offer infrastructure that is more advanced, meaning it can evolve and improve over time, without there ever being a danger of a hard fork.
Right. One of the biggest I remember issues, and this is the one thing I remember about Tezos that screwed it. It was the biggest ICO like in history of crypto, and it's kind of held it back, I think, because you just got too many people with a lot of Tezos that are just going to hold the price back and sell.
Interesting. That's really cool. So maybe just as we're rounding the end of the hour here, I don't even know where the time is on this computer. Oh, there it is. Just wanted to see if you could give us a little story or two about the dark web there, Tim Perry.
So obviously, you go on the dark web; it's a whole different ballgame on that side.
What goes on there?
What is the address? Like, how is it? You just go on your browser and type in dark web and you knock at the front door, and someone says hello.
You have to download a Tor browser, and then once you go on it, instead of like www.something.com, you do like 666.onion, and basically like you'll be on like an eBay for like meth and crack and AK-47s. Yeah, I don't know. I'll never know. Oh yeah, it's crazy. And obviously, I went on not to because I've got buddies who hack now in the crypto world. Like I've got connections on things that this is how I learned about all this stuff. And this is where you go and you can get in on bots. So you rent a bot, like you get in on someone who's created a bot, and you pay a monthly fee for X amount of months or something, and you basically get money on the bot. So a lot of these IDOs now that come out the gates, the bots will buy it like at a fraction of a second when it comes out, and then it'll sell and you'll make like 100x and your bots will do it all for you. So there's that kind of stuff. There's a lot more leads I find on like, I don't like pump and dumps. I don't like being a part of pump and dumps, but I do like knowing where the crowd's going.
Interesting.
So yeah, there's a whole lot of stuff on there. There's a lot of videos you do not want to see. Thankfully, I'm
sure that is true. I do not want to know.
Silk Road. Nate said Silk Road. Silk Road was actually on the normal web, I thought.
It was.
Yeah. And
somebody's saying, yeah, Candace says there are things on the dark web that will make your soul cry. I'm sure there are, Candace. I'm staying far away from there. And then Elmo is saying cicada.
Never heard of it. I mean, it's a loud bug. I know that.
Yes, very loud bug in the summer, and it tells us when it's getting hotter. Anyways, so I wanted just to give you all, like we're rounding the hour now. Any final words from any of the crypto folks? Anybody that's doing anything exciting, or are we just waiting for alt season to begin?
I just got invited to beta test BLES, BLES, that I've been talking about. I've been holding for a bit. So nice. I'm going to do that when we wrap up here. I got the email yesterday, so I'm interested to go in and check out what's going on and how they're using the app and that. So they're starting their beta. So I'm just trying different things to get involved. I started going to do some searching for work in crypto and see what's out there.
Awesome, Ken. What are you doing? What do you got on the go? Are you buying, selling, holding?
I'm going to be looking into farming and the Woo network.
What network?
I have to look at it because it's down like I think it's 75 cents a coin right now. So
what was that before?
It was 96. So
what, Luna? You said?
No, Woo.
WOO.
Yeah.
And what's the premise behind that one?
It's another platform that they're trying to offer like next to no fees.
Oh.
So was it a layer 2 solution?
I don't know. I haven't had time to
usually
look into
that
it,
means layer 2 solution, yes.
Yeah, I haven't had any time to look at it. I've been so busy with work right now.
Right,
So
right.
taking this weekend to actually dive into this kind of stuff. I looked at farming the other day and I got really confused, and I was just like, yeah, I'm going to go to bed.
Well,
it's too confusing.
You know what, Ken? Maybe you can join us when Ryan and Tim and I try to figure out the farming. We're going to try to do this without bugging Tim Perry, but you never know. We may have to call him and go, we're doing something wrong.
Yeah. It's a lot easier than you think.
Okay, good. And Tim Perry, what are you doing other than surfing the dark web and doing some fun activities? What are you looking at?
I've obviously been going deeper into arbitrage opportunities because I had one of the best ones. I think I told you I made 100% arbitrage in the one trade. But basically, I've learned that all these right now there's a lot of arbitrage opportunities across multiple chains. So I've been learning how to bridge coins from one chain to another, and obviously I've found a good formula for, if I can find one decentralized exchange and one centralized exchange rather than two centralized exchanges, I can get really good ARB opportunities. So I've been making some pretty good passive income there.
Well, that's interesting. Nate's saying he can't wait to explain more about it. So this is exciting. We will.
I mean, arbitrage is pretty basic. Arbitrage means one price on an exchange is much lower than another. So you buy it on the one and then you sell it on the other one higher. But what happens is, especially with centralized exchanges, I've noticed lately, there's even apps, by the way. I've got one. It's not the greatest, but there's apps you can do crypto arbitrage. The one problem is it's not as easy as it sounds because centralized exchanges will, if their bots notice that one price is higher on theirs, they'll lock their wallet so you can't deposit or withdraw.
Oh.
So that's why I've noticed if you can get a decentralized exchange. So the other day on Pancake, so ZSwap. So ZSwap the other day was 90 cents on Pancake Swap, which is a decentralized exchange. And it was $2 on BitMax. So it took all the available money I had at the time, which was about $1,000, bought ZSwap, and then I already had, I knew I was safe because all the centralized exchanges were at $2, but I had to rush to obviously buy it on Pancake Swap before they clued in and hopefully jumped up. And then within 5 minutes, I had doubled my money.
Oh, Jesus.
So I found a lot of, especially when there's volatility, that's when you go. So I've been getting used to, there's a Matic chain swap kind of thing just starting. And there's like on average 10% differences. But the problem is some of these coins I thought I could just easily bridge across to the Ethereum chain, but it costs like $100. So I'd have to be doing it in bulk amounts of money, which I'm not comfortable with yet.
Wow. Well, and the funny thing is, that was really interesting. The funny thing is what they wanted you to explain was farming.
Oh,
that's okay. You know what?
Farming's essentially just adding liquidity to a coin, and it usually gives you the opportunity to farm. So what you would do is you would stake the exact amount of usually US dollars or Ethereum, whatever that coin is paired in. So let's use Root, for example. You can pair Root up with a stable coin or with Ethereum, and it would be 50-50 of each side. So you do 50% of, so say if you do $150 worth of Root, then you have to do $150 worth of Ethereum or the stable coin. You're using your MetaMask, you say, I want to add liquidity. It says, sure, it approves, bam, next you know, it shows you that you're now farming for 5 other coins.
There you go. See, Ryan? Sounds easy. Sounds easy.
There you go. We'll try it out.
We're going to try it out. We're going to videotape ourselves. I know he didn't take any notes, Tim, but don't worry.
That's what video's for, honey.
We have a video.
Just wants to know what Pancake Swap. Pancake Swap is the Binance chain version of Uniswap. It works exactly. So if you went back into the videos, what we've taught how to do Uniswap, same thing with the Binance, but you do have to, with your MetaMask, you have to add the Binance chain to it. It's really easy.
The Binance Smart Chain, isn't it?
Yeah, but you have to add it to your MetaMask.
Right. Yeah.
You can't just go on Binance or on Pancake Swap and sign up and try to sign in. It'll say you're not compatible. You have to have your Binance chain integrated with your MetaMask. It's as easy as Googling. If you Google Binance to MetaMask, the first like link that'll come up will be a Binance backed site that'll make sure that it's HTTPS and stuff. And then you just follow the instructions on that, and it takes 2 seconds.
Yeah, I did it. It was fine.
Yep, sounds awesome. Yep. All right, Rye Guy. So it's back. It's down to you and us. What do you got going on the rest of this week? And we'll wrap it up pretty much with you.
The rest of this week, I know for a fact what I'm doing is I don't know if it's 100% yet. I think I'm going to hit 3 Ethereum coins by the end of, not the end of this week, but by the end of next week. I think I'm going to hit 3 Ethereum coins, if not a minimum of 2.5. But I'm not really, I don't know why I'm so kind of segmented in my steps. I don't know why I'm almost like more old school than a 70-year-old guy on this, but for some reason, I feel like I have to hit that milestone. I don't know what it is. I'm so bullish on Ethereum. All I'm doing right now is I'm dumping every dollar I possibly can into it. I just want my 5 coins before it hits $3,000. And if I can hit 5 coins before $3,000, then I can now feel comfortable moving on. I just can't afford necessarily to get into some of these other things based on comfort level and total portfolio value. So until I hit my 5 coins, that's just it. But again, tonight's scalp, by the way, just to keep you guys updated. Okay, everyone recommended that I bought Ethereum. Okay, everybody, thank you so much, by the way. You guys made me, I think I made about $64 on the scalp, and then Ethereum's up another like 40, 50 bucks American like since then. So winner. Anyway, so I'm going to keep kind of rocking and rolling, just gaining my Ethereum up, but that's kind of where I'm at this week.
Yeah, it's even at this moment starting to fly Bitcoin even more, man.
I know, I'm watching it as I've been like eyeballing it all day. It's
and dominance just literally Ethereum took all the dominance from Bitcoin. It just dropped like 0.2%. It went straight into Ethereum. So
yeah,
we're on the verge of absolutely life-changing type stuff. If you just hold on, because they're not going to make it easy. You got another 2 weeks of pain. Like someone just said, Root was just below $5. Expect it to drop another 50% probably.
Really?
Wow.
That's how they're going to shake you out. But when those things go, man. Like if I'll bring back, look at stuff in like Anchor in the fall, it dropped to like it started because I played Anchor. I got in Anchor at 0.4 of a penny, and I wrote it up to like I don't know, a penny something or something like that, and it dropped all the way back down pretty much. And I sold, luckily, like I didn't hang on the whole time. But now it's at 20 cents.
Yeah.
So these things, when they feel like going back, they go back like a slingshot.
Yeah. Our buddy Nate is saying people are selling Bitcoin into ETH. Anyways, you know what, guys? This has been awesome yet again. Love having you. Love having this conversation. I find it fascinating. I know there's a lot of people who have stuck with us for the whole show. So thank you very much. For those of you that just trudged it all through, we ran through the gamut of the Bitcoin maximalist. Then we had a little back and forth, and then we got right into the alt. So thank you so much once again. This has been wonderful.
And remember that Ryan has the Hi Rye Channel over on YouTube as well. And you're doing a podcast or a live cast tomorrow?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thursday.
Yeah.
Thursday live cast.
Sundays.
Yeah. It's 8 o'clock Eastern and 6 o'clock Central, right?
6 o'clock Mountain, 8 p.m. Eastern. We rock and roll every Tuesday, Thursday, Sundays, guys. Sundays are all crypto. Crypto is creeping more and more into my live streams and into my videos. I actually, we'll leave the rest to it, but it's going to be, I mean, you guys, if my portfolio is 50-50 crypto and stocks, then my content's going to be 50-50, but it's kind of creeping that way. And I'm not really diversified in crypto when I really should be, because I promote diversification. But I'm just on this Ethereum train, and I'm not getting off. I'm I'm going right to the end.
An ETH maxi.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, you watch. We're going to get him into other things. I can just feel it. Anyways.
For fairness, that's if you're going to be a maxi about anything right now, be an ETH maxi.
There you go. There you go. Anyways, have a good evening, everybody.
Thank you, everyone,
and we'll talk to you next week.
See you later.